Oh God, no! Hello, friends. My name's Aaron Ciotti. Everybody calls me Ciotti. Apparently, the clock on the stove upstairs is like 15 minutes behind, and I didn't realize that. So I apologize for the late start. There we go. Welcome to Whoop Wednesday. We're gonna be testing Gemfan biblades against the world today. We've already kind of done this. Was it Monday? Did we do the prop, a chunk of the prop testing on Monday? I think it was. We did a bunch of prop testing on Monday. Kiz Bartlett was cool enough to drop it all into an Excel spreadsheet, and he took a couple pictures of that Excel spreadsheet and put it up over into Livestream Live, the Patreon only, one of the Patreon only text channels on my Discord. You can get in on that, as well as all the other benefits of joining my Discord, by heading over to CiottiFPV.com. It's $3 whole a month. That's 10 cents a day. You can swing that. Just walk around looking for dimes. Find a dime a day, and I can eat ramen for the rest of my life. There's a whole bunch of benefits to join my Patreon. I swear to God, it's worth $3 a month. If you want to get in on giveaways, I have a bunch of giveaway tiers, $5, $10, $20 a month. That'll put you in on every other Monday giveaways. We just did some 2 days ago. They're all back on the floor over here. Gotta get them shipped out. We're gonna do it again. 14 plus 21. Whatever. Not this next Monday, but the Monday after that. We'll be in December by that point. So yeah, that's a way that you can win some stuff. Maybe it's your time. Maybe if you've never won anything, now's your time. Over on CiottiFPV.com, there's a bunch of other ways that you can help the gangliest of gangly men out. A bunch of affiliate links when you're ordering your stuff this Christmas for yourself, for your friends, for your family. Think of those of us that are creating content and hit an affiliate link before you check out. We have affiliate links to the majority of the places that you're going to be shopping, namely Amazon. You do have to hit our affiliate links over and over and over again, basically every time before you check out. Once you check out and you pay, it wipes the affiliate link out. So some people have replaced their bookmarks with my affiliate links. That's super cool. Some people have just, you know, if you just type the name of the website into the URL bar, you can, so like GetFPV, if you just type get and your URL bar suggests getfpv.com, off to the right, you can click an X to kill that, and then if you hit my GetFPV affiliate link a bunch of times, it'll be the one that gets automatically suggested every time you hit get. So, there you go. A couple different ways for you to support people. And if you don't use my affiliate links, use somebody else's affiliate links. You know, it's not easy to create content on YouTube. It's the world's weirdest job. And yeah, we rely on you guys, literally. Which is a good thing, because if we relied on like sponsors and stuff like that, then we would be less likely, we would be more incentivized to not tell the truth, right? Like, being funded by viewers allows us to be completely impartial, because you guys are the ones paying our bills, rather than, you know, Hobbywing paying my bills, and then it's just like, oh, they sent me a new product that kind of blows, but it's like, I don't want the relationship to go away and them to stop paying my bills. So I just say like, oh, this product's kind of okay, you might want to buy it, when it's actually garbage. If there's something that's even remotely garbage, I'm on here screaming and yelling about it. And, you know, that's because you guys keep the lights on in here. So, thank you very much for doing that. It's a really cool way of... It's just great to be able to, like, not have to have those moral decisions to make, right? Like, the fact that you guys support me allows me to do... just really cool shit, and yeah, you get good results as a and good feedback and good info as you know, in exchange for that. So thank you guys, I love you. In the chat, Riot9 was first, Athix FPV was next, Squeaky FPV, Ram Donko, WeBleedFPV, what's up Zotek, Michael D, Charles Marseille, Mr. Blue Sky Northern Tier, Ed K, Kiz Bartlett's here, John O'Connor, Mr. Blue Sky, Bulldog FPV, Michael Loons, John O'Connor again, Metal Dirt Skin is here, Rock Crawler, Felix Torres, Mr. Blue Sky again, John O'Connor again, Cheesehead FPV, Mr. Huggy, I am Gross 98, Alec Dvornik, all kinds of beautiful people up in here, EE Doc, Frank Nicholas, Ram Donko, Ed K again, Slow Entropy. I think I got everybody. If you want to talk directly to me, all you got to do is type CiottiFPV into the chat. If you do so, it'll light up an orange like this. I don't know that you're talking to me. You can do it with anyone. Doing an @ everyone doesn't work, though. I don't think it works. Rock Crawler tried to do an @ everyone, but he put an exclamation point after it. Yeah, I don't think @ everyone works. I just tried it and it didn't turn yellow, orange for me. The folks that have tagged me so far, Charles Marseille says, so what's the verdict on 65mm props, except the Gemfan 3-bladed eat prop for dinner? I haven't tested 65mm props yet, Charles, and I don't know if I will. 2.5-inch props, which is what 65mm is. There's not a lot of options. The Emax Avan 2.5-inch is the best of the triblades. And then there's not really a standout 2.5-inch biblade yet. Quad 66 is working on it with Gemfan. We'll see. But yeah, Probably won't see any 65mm testing here. Ed K says, good evening, collective and CiottiFPV. Rockcrawler says, hey, Ciotti. Felix Torres says, what's up, gangly man and gangly gang? Mr. Glue Sky, yeah, it's a totally different name. Mr. Blue Sky says, it's going to take CiottiFPV 20 minutes to catch up on chat. What's new? Ed K says, happy Turkey Day Eve, CiottiFP and everybody. Is that really tomorrow? I thought it was the 25th. Is it the 24th? Oh boy. We're having a really low-key kind of Thanksgiving, which is great. So yeah, we got a couple little tiny turkeys, and we're just gonna chill, make a bunch of food. Speaking of food, good lord, food is expensive. I feel like I've spent like $400 in food in the last like week. My God, man, Jesus, yeah, food is a lot. Ed K says, oh no, we got that. Felix Torres says those sponsor products run smooth. Yeah, right. I am Gross98 with a $20 super chat. Thank you, homie. Super, super generous of you. Happy holidays and thank you for all your content. Really, really enjoy the live streams. I enjoy you enjoying the live streams. Let me think of something better than that to say, because that was pretty nails on chalkboardy. Thank you very much, I am Gross. It is my pleasure to do this, and I love that it's just incredible that I get to do this, and like, yeah, you know, I've put a lot of time and effort in over the last 6+ years, and just to get to share all of that information and testing and knowledge that I've gotten with a bunch of people, like that in itself is amazing. To be able to do this full time is like next level awesome, and yeah, it's super cool. Yeah, my mental health suffers when I work like in an office. I've learned in the last 20-ish years of having a professional career, and I do much better with this as what I do as a living. So yeah, it's really, really cool that I've been able to figure out a way to do this full time, and it's even cooler that that's kind of you guys. You know, the main thing that I've done is find a group of people that is cool enough to kind of support me on this crazy journey. So yeah, thank you guys. I love it. WeBleedFPV says, good evening, CiottiFPV. Hello all. Ramdonko says, testing the post at CiottiFPV, bought some motors from America. Tiny whoop. Very cool. Ramdonko says all the little things. Let's just start testing stuff. We got lots of stuff to test here tonight. Actually, let's talk about it first. So, Monday's live stream, my neck is hurting, by the way. So if I look kind of stiff, that's what it is. That's what she said. Where is it? Here it is. So thus far, we have done all of our testing with this Mobula 6, which has WeBleedFPV 0702 28,500 kV motors. At the moment, I think these are my favorite motors. They have plenty of power. They're available, like you can actually buy them. And yeah, I mean, either the motors or this AIO, and we might learn the answer to that tonight. Either these motors or this AIO are very consistent from motor 1 to motor 2 to motor 3 to motor 4. These other rigs that I have are less consistent, and we're going to take a look at that here tonight. We're going to, so yeah, thus far the testing that we've done that Kiz has up on Livestream Live has just been done on this rig, 0702 28,500 kV motors. Tonight we're going to spin up, and I think I'm kind of done with testing on this rig. I've tested all of the propellers, and there's so much consistency between motors 1, 2, 3, and 4 that I don't need to do any of the other weird stuff like moving the motors to different locations. So I think this rig is like done being tested, which is awesome because I can just fly it more. So this guy is going to hang out over here. We have all the numbers from it. There was a battery in it. That battery is at storage voltage, so that's good. Tonight we're gonna start testing with. All right, so here, let me give you a recap on the testing real quick. Basically, what we found. Long story short, what we found is high KV 0702s, and I think all KV 0702s, if I'm honest, can't handle. I mean, they can, just not as well. They're really best suited for a biblade propeller. It's lighter weight and it's less draggy. And so here, I'm just going to run through a bunch of the props that we tested, and I'm going to tell you how much more or less thrust they made on those 0702s than our benchmark, which is the Gemfan biblade. The Gemfan biblade is looking like. No, it is. It is the best propeller for high KV 0702s. If you go down to a lower KV 0702, like 26,000 or 25,000, I don't even know what's out there, but yeah, a lower KV 0702, if you just want more power, you can go to a triblade, but the PID loop performance is going to suffer. So you're going to have to pick more power or better flight characteristics. You're not going to be able to have both of them on a lower KV 0702. But the WeBleed 28,500s, I think, are still in stock. So just go get those, and you can have it both ways. You can have more power and better PID loop performance. So yeah, here you go. On 28,500 kV 0702s, compared to the Gemfan biblades, which are the best. HQ's triblade made 2.4 grams less thrust. Gemfan's triblade made 1.2 grams more thrust, but they're heavier, so you're going to get worse PID loop performance, worse flight characteristics. All right, this is why these Gemfan biblades are the best, because you get amazing flight characteristics and a really good amount of power. The extra amount of power that any of these propellers are giving you is not nearly enough to offset the flight characteristics being worse, because triblades and quadblades are significantly heavier than biblades, all right? So the thrust is not the whole story, but thrust is what we can test with this little thrust stand scale setup. So yeah, the HQ triblade, super disappointing. 2.4 grams less thrust than a biblade. That's ridiculous. So you're going to get less thrust and less efficiency because it's a triblade. Gemfan triblades, 1.2 extra grams of thrust. T-motor triblades, 0.3 extra grams of thrust. Gemfan quadblades, 0.6 of a gram extra. What we're starting to see there is it's becoming miserably overpropped, and the 0702 is not big enough to spin that motor up high enough to get good thrust out of it. HQ's pitchy quad blades, 0.1 of a gram less thrust. And we also talked Monday about margin of error. Our margin of error is about 1 full gram. So 0.1 of a gram less thrust, that basically means nothing. That means that it's the same. It's giving you the same amount of thrust, basically. Which for a quad blade is unacceptable, because it's going to be way less efficient, way heavier, worse flight characteristics, all things bad. HQ's low pitch quad blade prop, 4.8 grams less thrust. That's the opaque HQ props. These are bad. Bad. And they don't go all the way down on the shaft. They're a pain in the ass. Pain in the ass to get off. The Azzy, the Newbie Drone Azzy quad blade, which we're not going to test anymore because they suck. 2 grams less thrust, and it wouldn't come off the shaft. In the process of trying to get it off the shaft, I completely bent it and obliterated it. The Azzy props are just too fragile. They're just completely unrealistic. They performed really poorly. I'm just done with them. They're too tight on the motor shafts, so they're a bitch to get on. They're an even bigger bitch to get off. As soon as you crash, they get bent. When you're putting them on, a lot of times you'll bend it when you're putting on. They're just stay away from them. Emax's quad blade, which I know what it is now. It's the Nanohawk. It's Nanohawk 1.2 inch 10 pitch quad blade. This is kind of the star of the quad blades. It made 1.4 grams extra thrust. Tonight, we're going to weigh all of these propellers. Kiz, I saw you in the chat earlier. Kiz, can you add to that spreadsheet tonight, or do you have to roll? I would love Kiz to just keep adding to this spreadsheet, and then, yeah, it'll continue to be available on Livestream Live. I would love to get prop weights in there, because the weight of the propeller is very closely related to the flight performance that you're going to get. The lighter the propeller, the better the response time, the better your PID loop is going to work, the better your flight performance is going to be. So yeah, the weight of the propellers being on this sheet is going to be great. And then I would also love to segment out that section, and that's the section from testing on 0702 28,500 kVs motors. Tonight we're going to do some testing on 0802s. I would love that to be another chunk in there. So yeah, the Emax quad blades were the stars of the show. I think because they are lighter and less pitchy. HQ's biblade made 0.7 of a gram less thrust than the Gemfan biblades. The HQ biblades are a complete pain in the ass because the top of the propeller where the prop shaft goes in is closed. And to try to open that up so you can actually put the propeller all the way down on the motor shaft so you don't bend motor shafts all over the place is a super pain in the ass. So the HQ biblades performed okay. 0.7 of a gram less thrust is within the margin of error. So we can say that they probably make a little bit less, but it's not really significant. But they're a complete nightmare to work with, and you're going to ruin tons of motors with them. So just stay the hell away from them. There's really no reason to run them. Unless they perform significantly better than the Gemfans, and they actually perform a little bit worse. So yeah, HQ biblades are worthless. The newbie drone Venom biblades made 2.4 grams less thrust. They're also very noisy. They seem, my guess is that they're kind of inefficient. We're gonna weigh them tonight. If somehow they're lighter than the Gemfan biblades, maybe they're okay, but I don't like them. And then, yeah, we kind of figured out our margin of error with some fresh Gemfan biblades. Beat up Gemfan biblades versus fresh Gemfan biblades, there was really no difference. So, yeah, that's the thrust testing that we did on Monday. Tonight, we're going to dive back into that and get some more done. Kevin Sumner tagging me in chat, says, "What's up, CiottiFPV? I blew up 2 Redux ESCs in the last 2 days, one today and one yesterday. Time to go drop a couple Benjis on Aikon." Redux. What's the Redux? Who's that made by? Oh, Redux is the company. Yikes. Is the, man, most ESCs are garbage. I should probably say that more often because it's really important. There's no Redux on this page. What the hell, Google? Re-index this site. Yeah, most ESCs are junk. I gotta be super honest with you. Yeah, it looks like Redux is the... Did they just steal Pyrodrone's website layout? Looks just like Pyrodrone. No, yeah, it is. It's built on the same engine, I guess, as Pyrodrone. Yeah, most ESCs are junk, guys. Seriously, stay with Aikon and or T-Motor's most expensive ESC. Every single other literally every single other ESC I've ever run, including Hobbywing, has just been useless, just awful. Arm like not putting out the same amount of power to all 4 motors. Arm drops when you pump the throttle, and then they just blow up after a bunch of crashes. Whereas Aikons have been just full-blown indestructible. Like, just, I cannot kill them. I've managed to kill one, and that's it. Like, they just don't die. It's really incredible. Yes, they cost a couple of dollars extra than the cheaper ESCs, but with how long they last, you're going to save yourself tons of money by running Aikon and or T-Motor's most expensive ESCs. T-Motor has a bunch of different companies make their electronics for them. Aikon makes their most expensive stuff. So the T-Motor expensive ESCs and flight controllers are made by Aikon and thus are amazing. You can find Aikon stuff now on all three of the big websites, RDQ, Pyrodrone, and GetFPV. So you can just buy Aikon rather than like wondering like, oh shit, is this the most expensive T-Motor thing? So yeah, you can do that. But Aikon stuff is admittedly harder to find than T-Motor stuff. So there you go. Athix says, I picked up some Tiny Whoop 0802 EX 25,000 kV motors. Very cool, Athix. That is a great motor. Just a little fragile. Just be careful. June Loco says, Infinity Loops wants to fight you because you hate on 75 millimeters. LOL, that is not true. Ram Donko says, weight loss equals promote 0702s all day. Hell yeah. Metal Dirtson says, I'm building a Whoop for a beginner and would like recommendations. Maybe I should get a build planning session from you. To be honest, Metal, just get him a Mobula 6 with the, hopefully with the 26,000, Mobula 6 ELRS with the 26,000 kV motors, and then motor limit them down by like 80%. And that'll be new person, maybe even more than that. And then as they grow, they can crank the power up a little bit. Athix says, RDQ has $33 40 amp 30x30 6S Mamba ESC. Yeah, I mean, if non-Aikon ESCs are cheap enough, it begins to feel like it makes sense. The problem is, even if it's like a third of the cost of an Aikon, I can almost guarantee you that it's going to last less than a third as long. I love the idea of building budget rigs, but every budget rig I have ever built has been a reliability nightmare. And then I end up not flying it because it breaks so often. So yeah, it's really hard. I have such, and my God, I have tried to find the magical cheap parts for years and years and years and years that are reliable and are, you know, perform well. And I'm still looking. Actually, I've given up on looking. A number of years ago, I just stopped. I just realized, like, Aikon is it. Aikon is reliable. I don't care what it costs. It is, like, many orders of magnitude more reliable than everything else. And I'm sick of replacing... I hate replacing ESCs. So yeah, not only does it save you money, but it saves you time, and your time is valuable. So yeah, believe me, I absolutely love the idea of a $33 ESC. But I hate to be the bearer of bad news. It's not gonna last. It just isn't. I've yet to find one that does, and I've had a 30x30 Mamba blow up pretty quickly. So. Kevin Sumner says, I got those Redux ESCs on Joshua's recommendation a while ago. They each only had maybe 10 to 20 batteries on them. Yeah, it's tough, man. It's like trying to get when recommending ESCs, you just can't know how reliable they are. You have to fly them for like a year to know if they're reliable or not. So, ESCs in particular. Flight controllers, like, they're all pretty reliable. VTXs, receivers, right? Like, all these things are, like, relatively reliable. But ESCs are a goddamn nightmare. So, when you see anyone recommending an ESC, more than likely, they're recommending it based on the factors that we look at everything else with: feature set, price, is the manufacturer reasonably reliable, right? Like you'll pretty much never see anyone recommend an HDLRC ESC because we just know that they all catch on fire. Not all of them, but so yeah, to be honest, my recommendation is to not take any recommendations from anyone on ESCs. If you're gonna take a recommendation from anyone on ESCs, ask them how many batteries they've put through that ESC. And if they've put less than like 1,000 batteries through the ESC, then yeah, it's kind of at least 100, a bare minimum 100 plus batteries through an ESC is absolute bare minimum to know if it's gonna fail. I don't think I've had any ESC other than an Aikon or a T-motor last more than 100 batteries. And that's absolutely insane. That's absolutely ridiculous. So yeah, that's what I'm gonna say about ESC recommendations. Everything else, you're kind of fine, but ESCs are a very specific situation. We ask a lot of our ESCs. We put a ton of abuse through them. So the fact that any of them survive is pretty amazing. The fact that the Aikons just absorb the beating of an absolute lifetime it's just weird. It's just weird. It really is. Since Kenny Kobe says, do you like Lumineer Razor 55 4-in-1? Absolutely not. I've had 100% of the time, I have had a horrible experience with all Lumineer electronics, other than the Lumineer Rush Tank 20x20, because it's just made by Rush. Other than that, every single piece of Lumineer electronics that I have run has been a complete nightmare. So I and many other people recommend that you just completely stay away from any electronics made by Lumineer. Metal says, high hopes on the Speedy B Foxeer 50 amp ESC. Their F405 stack is one of the few that isn't crazy expensive. I have recently heard good things about the Foxeer ESCs. I have heard good things about pretty much all ESCs. So I just don't buy it anymore. I hope that it is great. I really do. Because my God, would it be nice to have another ESC that was actually half decent. But I don't listen to anyone anymore. Unless I know them personally, and I know for a fact that they're putting hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of batteries through the ESC. I love Joshua to death, but and I know him personally, but I know that he doesn't put hundreds and hundreds of batteries through ESCs, and I know that he doesn't crash them into cement and concrete and metal. So when he has an ESC recommendation, I basically just don't take it. It's nothing against him. He's making recommendations based off of the data set that 99% of people have access to. I don't expect him to crash an ESC 100 times over and over again through 100 batteries. That's a completely unrealistic expectation. So yeah, keep that in mind when it comes to ESCs for sure. I have zero confidence in Speedy B ESCs, if I'm totally honest, because I watched Mike from Gemfan go through 3 of them in the course of 2 days. That was the version 2. Apparently the version 3 is better. I just don't buy it. I don't care how many people tell me that it's okay until a trusted person has put hundreds of batteries through it that I know crashes hard. I just don't buy it. And there aren't many people like that. So typically it's just a total crapshoot. But you can avoid the crapshoot by just buying Aikons, and then you won't have to worry about ESCs anymore. Jason Black says, are there any black box modules for F411 flight controller? I don't know what that question means, Jason. The only way I can answer that question is to say that if you have an F411 flight controller, it's either going to have black box or it's not going to have black box. You can't install black box on it. That's the only way that I can read that question. So if you were trying to, if that's not the answer you were looking for, ask the question in a different way, because I'm not totally sure what you're getting at. Michael D says, hello gang, CiottiFPV. PayPal with a little smiley guy. Oh my God, I got a lot of emails today. Holy cow. Michael D with a $40 super chat. Thank you, dude. Holy hell. Gear fund is going to 4 even. Oh, shit. There's a Mini 11 in my future. Thank you, brother. Very cool of you, Michael D. Michael D, what can I, like... What do you got going on that I can send people to? We need to all... we need to support each other, of course, but, like, you know... What do you got going on? You want people to subscribe to your YouTube channel? Get your asses over to Michael D's YouTube channel, or I'm going to just shut this stream off and never stream again. I don't know. It's hard to threaten you guys. Thank you so much, Michael D. Random FPV says, well, hello, people. CiottiFPV, when will you have my baby, you sexy gangly bastard? Never, Random. Never. Good to have you back, though. Blizzard FPV with a $2 Canadian super chat. He says ESC equals eventually should catch fire. Yeah, so true. So true. Charles Marseille says, why isn't there a motor limit on turtle mode if ESC usually burn up with stuck props? 40% output limit would at least help. No? That's a good question. My assumption is that not every quad build has a powerful enough drivetrain to actually turtle mode over. So it's up to you. And again, my guess is going to be that the Betaflight devs thought, well, you know, turtle mode is not an on-off switch. Turtle mode is a gradual thing. So the user, us, should be gradually moving the stick out, which is what I've done forever, and I've never burned up an ESC from turtle mode. So I think that's yeah, I mean, there's no reason for them to limit it, because by default, it's an analog thing. So you should never, ever, ever use any more power than you need to. So yeah, when you use turtle mode, just very gently push the stick over. And if the props are stuck, they won't, you'll push the stick, you'll hear it, and the quad won't move. So it's, yeah, and what you should do with turtle mode is you just push a little bit in each corner, and you try to find which one is free. And then when you've found which prop is free, that's the one that you then gently spin up. You should never, ever just bang turtle mode into the corners. That's why ESCs blow up, and that's completely our fault. That's not, you know, that is in no way Betaflight's fault. For them to put something in that limited turtle mode would just be a nightmare for everybody that builds rigs with less power. Because who the hell's gonna think to like tune the amount of power that's in their turtle mode, right? You're gonna go out, fly it, you're gonna crash it somewhere, and then it's gonna be gone forever, because you can't get into the CLI for an adjustment like that. So, yeah, in my opinion, full power through turtle mode is the way that it should be. It's on us to just take a breath and just gently push the stick out rather than because there's no reason. I mean, that's just abusive for absolutely no reason, and it's actually more work. You have to actually push harder to get it to the full power. Just be lazy and just only put. I can barely push this. That's more like I'm pooping, but Random FPV says, has Kiz Bartlett sent you any pictures of him wearing a sparkly red and apparently they can fly better. Interesting. Sugary OD says Bardwell is probably better at telling you which ESC not to get since he fields so many troubleshooting questions. Yeah, I'm certain that he learns a little bit from the amount of troubleshooting questions he gets. The problem, though, is that he has no way of knowing how many of a given ESC is sold, right? So if Hobbywing sells 100,000 ESCs, and then Aikon sells 1,000, and then Joshua gets inundated with emails complaining about blown up Hobbywings, and he gets one email about a blown up Aikon, that doesn't work, right? Like, that's going to make it seem like the Hobbywing ESCs are garbage, but they just sold a ton more of them. That's just me grabbing random numbers and company names out of the air. If anything, it would maybe be the opposite. But yeah, getting reliability info from people having problems with a product is almost worthless, unless you know how many of those ESCs have been manufactured and sold, which nobody really does, right? Because there's a million different shops. So yeah, it's really impossible to get a realistic idea. So this is something that kind of curses Beta FPV. Beta FPV's quality control is not that bad. They just sell a ton of product. So we tend to hear a lot of complaints about Beta FPV stuff, and I wish they made better stuff. Don't get me wrong, because I've had quite a few problems with them, but they're not as bad as they seem. They're also not good, but yeah. So it is kind of impossible to get feedback data. Every once in a while, there'll be a product that goes out and everybody is just like, yo, this thing blows up. The other part of this problem is that if you get a product and it works right, you typically don't go online and on every single message board say, oh my God, or Facebook group say, oh my God, this is the best thing ever. But when something blows up, you absolutely go on every single Facebook group and say, this is the worst thing ever, right? So it's just, yeah, the only way to get proper reliability info is from someone that flies a lot and crashes a lot and is not sponsored by that company. It's got to be somebody who relies on their viewers to pay their bills, and that's pretty rare. And I'm honored to be one of those people. So, and I do have some sponsors, but those companies don't send me money. They every once in a while send me product, or sometimes they just say like, hey, we want to sponsor you. Here's a box of stuff. Is that cool? And I'm like, yeah, it lets me drop a logo on my intro screen and I look fancy and whatever. So yeah, like, I don't even know who's on that screen, but like Newbie Drone, for example, like, they actually haven't sent me anything, but they sent me their logo and they said like, yeah, we want to sponsor you. And I was like, oh, cool. So yeah. FPV Exchange, they've sent me a bunch of stuff. I've done giveaways with pretty much all of it. Some of it I've used, the HT0 stuff. But yeah, I consider them to be a sponsor, even though they don't like cut me a paycheck or anything like that. I'm not paid by anyone, so I don't have to have this like internal monologue of like, oh well, God, I sure hope Gemfan doesn't stop sponsoring me. Part of when Gemfan offered me the sponsorship, I told them like, hey, if you come out with a bad prop, I'm gonna trash it. And Mike was like, please do let us know, please don't just trash it. Let us know so that we can either fix it or pull it. And it's happened. It's happened with their pre-production props before, and they absolutely loved that I got back to them. So yeah, it's there you go. Frank Nicholas says you can add a micro SD card black box recorder to any flight controller that has an available serial port. So what Frank is talking about is the open logger. Yeah, so if you have a flight controller that doesn't have black box, you can wire up an open logger, and then you got to find a spot to mount it. That tends to be the hardest part. But yeah, you can do that. Usually that's just for the interim, because then you got a bunch more wires and an extra thing to package. Most people don't leave that on their rigs. You certainly could, but yeah. Michael D says, nothing to support. I don't post stuff on my YouTube. Thank you, though. Fair enough. Thank you again, Michael D. Very cool of you. Ramdango says, do the connections work at Kenny Kobe, also ASL? I don't know what that means, Ram. Ask me again. Tag me again. Ask it a different way, though. Because my brain's very smooth. Michael D says, the Tiny Hawk 2 is notorious for blown ESCs from trying to turtle mode. Don't know if the Tiny Hawk 3 is any better, but doubt if it's due to lower KV. Yeah, there are rigs that are notorious for blowing ESCs in turtle mode. Basically what that means, so the problem is twofold. The first part of the problem is the pilot. Absolutely, 100%. I would say that's 80% of the problem, because most people don't. I have never, let me put it this way, I have probably flown with 100+ people. I have never, not one of those people have ever used turtle mode in an analog way. Every single person I have ever flown with, when they turn turtle mode on, they bang the stick all the way to the corners. And every time I'm like, oh God, why? But like, I don't, you know, you can't, it's weird like correcting people. So I talk about it here on stream when I can, and you got to do it yourself. The other part of the problem, if there's a specific rig, like the Tiny Hawk 2 in this case, basically what that means is that they did not put MOSFETs on there that are quite beefy enough for the powertrain in real-world circumstances. Real-world circumstances meaning dum-dums. Sorry, guys. I know a bunch of you have been using full-stick turtle mode. I was, too, for a while before I realized that it was analog. So I was a dum-dum, too. Yeah, real-world circumstances are a bunch of dum-dums that are going full stick on turtle mode when the props can potentially be blocked. So Emax shares that problem, that they should be putting MOSFETs in that can handle the real-world situation that we're in. But I can almost guarantee you that a Tiny Hawk 2, if you were careful with turtle mode, you wouldn't blow it up. Maybe I'm wrong, but I doubt it, because it's very easy to tell if the props are blocked or not, and you're only using a tiny little bit of power to figure that out. So, yeah, I blame you. Charles Orsay says, great turtle mode answer, unrecoverable quad because of output limit, valid point. BugsFPV says, do you know anyone that's done an Avata frame swap? Think I'd rather do that instead of the O3 air unit so I can keep the GPS hold / head tracking. I do not. No, I have not heard of an Avata frame swap. I would be afraid to do that, though, with all of the falling out of the sky problems with the Avatas. So, yeah, in my opinion, the Avata is not a quad that is really safe to be flown around people. It's basically, I think of it like a 5-inch rig. Stay the hell away from people because it can fall out of the sky at any moment. Although it seems like there are Avatas that do fall out of the sky and there are Avatas that don't fall out of the sky. So if you have one that doesn't fall out of the sky, then it becomes a little bit safer to fly around people. But I'm still very worried about it because they have another problem with disarming. The biggest part of the problem is there's not just a switch that your finger can sit on to instantly disarm it. It's like you got to put the sticks in, or I think there's a push button thing. But the other part of the problem is that when you try to disarm it, there's a lot of cases of them not disarming. And that is arguably an even bigger problem than them falling out of the sky. So yeah, not a rig that's safe around people. Unfortunately, it's a rig that's kind of built specifically to be flown around people, sorta, but not really. So yeah, I don't know. I would stay away from the Avata, to be honest, until they fix both of those things. The disarm thing, I don't think there's really a fix for. I think that's, this is the problem with these so I have this same problem with cars. Cars from the last 10, 15 years have layers and layers and layers and layers of computer controls and safeties and all this bullshit, and it takes it takes the human part out, and it makes certain things more difficult, and in my opinion, less safe. The Avata is kind of the same way. Our rigs are safer because of their simplicity and because we fly a lot of batteries and we get a lot of experience with our middle finger sitting on a switch that, come hell or high water, when we flip that switch, the quad shuts off. And it doesn't get caught in someone's hair and rip all their hair out and cut their face. Any number of horrible things that can happen if if one of these things does not disarm absolutely instantaneously every single time, no matter what. you know, DJI has this weird shit where you can grab it from the top and rotate it to disarm it. Like, fuck all that, man. Put a big red switch on the goddamn controller that your finger sits on 24/7. Like, or get it the hell away from me. That's just me. I'm just not somebody that wants to have an accident happen. You know, some people don't care about that, and those people should burn. No, you know, they're entitled to their opinion. Interesting question. Thanks for asking it. Sorry to shit on your. It's great. The GPS hold, the head tracking, that stuff is all very, very cool. So if you're not going to be flying it around people, yeah, there's a lot of really cool stuff about the Avata. I have to be honest. The runtime, a bunch of really cool things about it. But unfortunately, DJI really fucked up. I don't understand. I don't get it. I don't get how you can make that rig and you can have that many engineers, and at some point someone doesn't go, hey, you know what's really important that we should spend like 100 hours on? Making sure it disarms no matter what. It just shirt of the day. Anybody want it? Who wears medium shirts? Anybody want this shirt? I don't. Michael D says, CiottiFPV said it's my fault I've blown so many ESCs on the fat bottom Tiny Hawk too. That's it, I'm unsubscribing. I was just kidding. How many have you blown? Michael, how many have you blown, and have you been going full stick on turtle mode? There's a chance that, Riot9, I want you to have this shirt, but you're in the wrong country, and it won't get there. I'm sorry that America's postal services suck so bad with shipping overseas. Anybody in America want this shirt? I'll sell it to you. It's a medium. Yeah, tell me more, Michael D. Because I mean, there is a chance that they just put such small MOSFETs on there that even if you're just pushing gently and there's a prop blocked, that it could be blown up. But yeah, you gotta like be, I don't know, I've always just been very careful with turtle mode. So like if the rig is too far away and I can't hear it, like I'll take the walk. Like if there's any question whether or not there's a propeller that's blocked or not, I'm not just gonna go hammering on it. I give it like the initial little whoop 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 whoop, just the tiniest little bit. And then if I can't find one that's free, I'm walking. If you've been doing that and you're still blowing up, then that's a big problem. That is a big, 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 big problem. And at that point, to be honest, it's not your fault. But I have a feeling that's not the case. Bugs FPV says, I think if I did the Avata swap and new batteries somehow, I could make it a lot lighter and get some better prop guards for it. The disarm is a big deal. But I fly low and for real estate. To be honest, I doubt that you're going to be able to make it lighter. I have a feeling that DJI, their ability to make the molded plastic frame, I bet you that's going to be as light as you're going to find. I also don't think that you're going to get a better battery than them, than what they've got going on. I would have also thought that somebody would have done it by now, but it is a fairly new product. So, but yeah, I would be wary. DJI, yeah, them being able to injection mold a plastic frame like that, that's yeah, that's a big deal. That allows them to like structurally engineer the frame in a way that it's really strong and really light. You know, we use carbon fiber. One of the reasons that we use carbon fiber is that it's easy to manufacture and it's easy to iterate on. So I would be very wary of like I just don't want you to like have high expectations and then have them be smashed. So be very wary of if the goal is to save weight. I think you might be disappointed. I hope not, but I have a funny feeling you might. Metal Dirtskin says, turtle mode is indeed the only time I've blown an AK-32 ESC. Wow, have you really? I have, man, so I got a rig stuck in a tree a couple of Christmases ago, next to a federal building, believe it or not, here in Atlanta. And it had an AK-32, and I was so desperate to get it out. I was like full stick. It happened right at the beginning of the battery. I spent the entire battery turtle moding, and trying to like chop the branch that it was on. I got one of the motors so hot on that rig that it demagnetized the magnets. It was absolutely brutal and just ridiculous, and the AK-32 is still in another rig. I got that rig back, and that AK-32 is still running. So I haven't even been able to blow one of those up, and that was 6S and all the goodies. So that's pretty impressive, Metal, that you blew an AK-32 with that. All that being said, unless you're stuck in a tree next to a federal building you're not supposed to be flying next to, yeah, there's no reason to hammer on turtle mode as badly as I was. Michael D says, I went through 3 flight controllers before I learned from the Gangliest Gangle that I shouldn't try to give full throttle for a long time. Thank you. You're certainly welcome. All right, let's get going. Let's do some testing here. We got a lot to do. Let me move the chat over. So I'm going to be a little bit less responsive in chat, but please do still leave your questions. Hold on. Rotate this guy around like we've been doing lately. Okay. Now you can see my big dumb face. Hold on. Actually, no. The first thing I'm going to do is wipe off this. So I am kind of digging this. This is a silicone, whatever, work mat, solder mat, whatever the hell you want to call it. I am digging it, but it gets dirty, and like the stuff like sticks to it because it's like grippy silicone. Previously I had that like mesh kind of cloth material FPV crate one, and there were some things I liked about that one a little bit better. But I like this one too. This is kind of nice, and I like that it's neutral gray. I think it helps this Logitech focus a little bit better, and I don't know, I just think it kind of looks better too. And this area up here is magnetic, which is pretty cool. It holds parts pretty well. I completely emptied it out because I knew I was going to be doing the thrust stand stuff, and it gets very windy. So I emptied this stuff all out, but usually I got a bunch of parts and whatnot up here. Okay, so here we go. Wait, no. So the first thing that I want to do is fly this guy around because wait, no. Let me think about this for a second. So tonight, we are also, one of the other things we're going to be doing tonight is testing out these WeBleedFPV prototype 0802 20,000 kV motors. And I want to back these motors against the 0802 30,000 kVs to just kind of give you guys an example of high kV versus low kV. This is extraordinarily low kV at 20,000 for me. This is more of like a racing motor. But yeah, I just want to show you guys how completely different your freestyle flying will be with a bunch of extra power. I mean, you can probably guess, but I don't know. I think it's still worth it to kind of go through that little adventure. So the question becomes, do I put these prototype motors on this rig with the Tiny Whoop 30,000s, or do I, so that I can literally back-to-back these, or do I fly this right now with the 0802 30,000s and then swap those motors onto this? I don't think I want to take this one apart. So I think I'm going to fly this now, and then we'll do a motor swap on this. We'll put this on the thrust stand, and then we'll do a motor swap. And yeah, that's definitely what I'm going to do, because if I put this on the thrust stand and there's a big variance between any of these motors, the correct troubleshooting first step is to take all 4 motors and rotate them, and then see if that variance moves with the motors or see if it stays the same. That's going to tell us if there's an ESC channel that's dying or if there's a motor that's dying. By doing a motor swap, I can accomplish that same thing on this rig. Oh wait, I can also do that on this. And I think there was a big variance on this rig. So that's what I'm going to do. Yeah, I'm going to put them on here. Because I remember that there was a big variance in between the motors on this rig. We're going to test that in a minute. So let's do that first. We're going to fire this thing up as it sits with TinyWhoop 0702 30,000 kV motors. There's going to be I'm pretty sure there's going to be a pretty big variance between these motors. I'm going to take these motors off. I'm going to put these brand new WeBleed prototype 0802 20,000s on. And then we're going to see if these motors have the same big variance as these 0702s. And that's going to tell us if the problem was with these 0702s or with the AIO. I can almost guarantee you that the problem is with the AIO, but this is the easiest way to troubleshoot that. And then I'll be able to back these 2 rigs, and that'll be really cool. So that's what we're going to do. Let's do a quick test on this HD0 rig just to, I think we can kind of confirm that the AIO blew up on this rig real quick. So let's just really quickly do a turtle mode test on this guy, just because it doesn't take very long to do it, you know? So let's just flip these props upside down. I almost tore this rig apart because so for anybody that didn't see the Whoop Wednesday where we did this, we swapped this. This used to be, well, it still is, a Mobula 6 HD0, and we moved it over into this Fractal frame, and it was already starting to drop one of the arms when I put it into like hard roll and yaw scenarios, and it started to get really worse, and then it got to the point where it was like just kind of unflyable. So let's see if we can see that on the thrust stand. What we might see is that one channel is like really, really, really down on power. So let's get that going. Powering up my little toolkit bench power supply, clipping the alligator clips to my little BT 2.0 cable here. Okay. And let's get this over here. Okay, I need to adjust the voltage down from 16 to... So for whatever reason, in order to get the flight controllers to boot, I have to run this at like a very low voltage, like 3.5. I don't know why, but whatever. Doesn't really matter. So cool. Let's do our first quick round of testing here, just to see what's going on with this. This might be a little difficult because it's not a regular Whoop frame. This is going to sort of want to rock around a little bit, which is going to be super annoying. And it might kind of throw the testing off, but I don't know. I'm about to pull this rig apart anyway, so it kind of doesn't matter. The problems that I was having were very obviously an ESC channel letting go. Or a gyro letting go, or something physical letting go, and it's an AIO, so there's no fixing it. So I just, you just throw the whole AIO away. I hate it. It sucks. I hate that about AIOs. Ramdongo says, live loud and clear. CiottiFPV, I'm here. Nice, Ram. WeBleed says 21,500. Oh, 21,500. Very cool. Zotek, did you not want me to tell what the KV was of the motor? If so, I apologize. I didn't even think about it. All right, engaging turtle mode. And all right, so here we go. Motor 1, motor 2, 4, 3. Yeah, I can already tell this thing's gonna... See how it's rocking around? This ain't gonna work. I could flip it upside down and then go into beta flight and reverse all the motors. I think I'm gonna have to do that. I think that's the only way I can do this, because I can't like push down on the rig to hold it steady. Let's see. Maybe I can do this. Maybe I can offset it, and then yeah. Okay, so I can do that. So this is whatever. This is not gonna have good repeatability, but let's just give it a shot. $18.3, that's very low, but that might be because it's all off center and weird and wacky. Do motor 2 next. I'm gonna have to just read the number off the thing because everything is kind of in the way. Well, maybe not. Hold on. Let's see. All right, so we're gonna try motor 2 here. Tear it out. I'm just gonna read it. 17.5. Hey, can somebody type these numbers into the chat? I'm losing track already. I don't even remember what that first number was. These are very low numbers for these motors. Trying to get it so that somebody can see it. All right, this is motor 3. Hold on, I gotta tear it out. All right, motor 3. 17.6 was the max that I saw. And then this is going to be motor 4. These numbers are very low. Oops. All right, motor 4. 16.5, 16.4. Well, what we didn't see is a huge variance between them. That's kind of interesting, but those numbers are very low compared to the regular Mobula 6 AIO, which is weird because these are on the Tiny Whoop 30,000 kV motors. So now we're going to fire up these exact same motors on Nichols. Oh, there we go. Yeah, these are very low. 18. It might be because of the way the frame. I don't know. Regardless, this AIO was falling out of the air, so this AIO is going to get removed from here, and it's going to get sent to Athix because he was the first one to ask for it. So whatever. That was kind of a worthless test. That was just kind of a morbid curiosity test. Let's check out this little fella here, which is flying totally fine. This is a Mobula 6 ELRS in this fancy, beautiful purple tiny dyed Meteor 65 frame with these Tiny Whoop 0702 30,000 kV motors. And you'll get to see, so these are the exact same motors that we were just spinning up, but on a different AIO. And you're going to get to see a drastic... you know what the problem is? I still have the power supply on 3.5 volts. That's the problem. I was going to say, man, why the hell is that thing... So I'm going to leave it on 3.5 volts, and we're going to spin these up, and we're going to see if there's a big difference. That's annoying. I mean, I can pretty easily just do that test again. Maybe I will. Okay. So, here we go. Yeah, boots right up on 3.5. So let's run this on 3.5 and see what kind of numbers we get. Should be interesting. So yeah, the regular Tiny Whoop frame sits evenly on this pad on the scale, which is really nice. All right, here we go. Now, there's no setting to change power on turbo mode, Michael D. Motor 1. Ready? 23.8. Wow, this one is making a lot more power. Motor 2. 23.2. Motor 3. 21.1. Motor 4. 24.8. So we do have this one motor that's drastically down. Somebody dump those numbers into chat, please. So we are drastically down on power. What is it, motor 3? 21.7, yeah. Let me just try something, though. Just out of curiosity. Let's offset the rig a little bit. Well, that makes it even worse. Yeah, so motor 3 is drastically off on this rig. We are going to change to a fresh set of motors and see what happens. But both of those tests are on 3.5 volts per cell. Let's turn the power up to 4.1 because that's what we were testing everything else on, was 4.1 volts per cell. So yeah, that was just a quick. So yeah, that Mobula 6 HD0 Super Whoop AIO is blown up because the numbers were significantly lower on the exact same motors. 18, 17, 16, 16 versus 23, 23, 21, 24 on the exact same set of motors, exact same set of propellers. Different frame, they were sitting differently on the pad, but I mean, that's a very drastic difference. So here we go, at 4.1 volts, 29.3, motor 2, 28.2, motor 3, 27.1 before it quickly started to fall off there. Did you notice that? Motor 4, 30.4. So I think that my guess is that the MOSFETs on ESC channel 3 are starting to die. As soon as it hit full power, it pretty quickly started to drop off. So I think those MOSFETs are getting too hot and they're just starting to get weaker. So yeah, off and off. Get out of there. Kiz, I would love for this set of numbers to be added to that sheet as a comparison point between the Tiny Whoop 0702 30,000s and the WeBleed 28,500s. That would be super dope. I will love you long time if you can do that. Man, I can't get this BT 2.0 off, and I'm trying to be very, very, very gentle with it. There we go. I think I got it. Okay. Let me take a quick look at this. I feel like why does it look so close? Yeah, the little connector got turned. Little connector got turned. Let me turn it back. Last thing I need is for the leads to touch one another and explode. Rapper turnt singer. Oh, this one's just like loose as shit. Okay, that's good to know. That'll be fine, but let me throw a piece of shrink wrap on it. That'll fix the issue. Stand by. Let me just do a quick little. I should have done this in the first place, but I didn't. So let me just throw a quick piece of shrimp wrap on here. And actually, no, I'm going to do this the real way. I'm going to put 3 pieces of shrimp wrap on here. I'm going to shrimp wrap from the solder joints so that if they do somehow touch each other, there's a piece of shrimp wrap in the way. If you're new here, yes, I did just say shrimp wrap. That's the original name of shrink wrap. Most people don't know that because originally it was made of actual shrimps. It's a little known fact. You can look it up on the internet if you want, but it's a waste of your time, just believe me. Why would I lie to you? Would I lie to you about something as important as the name of shrink wrap? Ramdago says, Tiny Whoop got some Yop stuff back in. What's Yop stuff? Mother Erickson says, maybe the prop hanging off the edge of the scale has a little more clear outflow. I think you're right. I think that has something to do with it. That is my guess for sure. Okay, let's cut a little bit off this, and we're gonna make this happen. So here's a little trick with shrimp wrap, is you can actually stretch it out a little bit so that you can fit it over bigger areas than it would normally be able to fit. So you just put it into needle nose pliers and just stretch it a little bit, real gentle. Stretch it out a little bit, and if you do it too much, you'll rip it. And then when it shrinks back up, it'll shrink back up to the original size and then some. So you can actually like really you can put it over some big wires where there's a little small area that you want it to kind of grab onto, and it'll close like a big gap. So you can go from like a big wire to a small whatever, solder joint or whatever you're kind of working with. Okay. Just want to make sure this is as far onto this as possible. There we go. All right, and real quick here. Perfect. Then we got the red one. Let's get that stretched out a little bit. Okay. All right. Come on. Get on there. Get in there. There we go. Okay. Ethan W is back from work. There we are. Okay. There's that, and here's this. Cool, those are both on there, and then I always like to do one more layer in between them, and I try to run it up over the actual plastic of the BT 2.0 itself. So I need a slightly larger piece of shrimp to do this. This should work. And yeah, so this is not big enough to go over this part of the plastic, so I'm going to stretch it, and then it is going to be big enough, and then it's going to shrink down and hopefully touch the actual wires themselves. This is the nice thing about stretching this out, is it'll end up shrinking down quite a bit extra. Does that make sense? You guys picking up what I'm laying down? So yeah, see, now it's big enough to go over. And let's see how far down it will shrimp. I was kind of hoping it would shrimp down even farther than this, but this will give me something to kind of hang on to when I'm trying to unplug it, which is good. So let's give that a second to cool off. A jumbo shrimp, if you will. Okay. If I may. All right. Put my little rando container of shrimp wrap back, and let's get this back in the alligator clips here. All right. There we go. Cool. So, we just tested this guy on 4.1. We don't really need to test this anymore. We can just swap the motors. So let's get that rolling. Unless we want to test this other rig. Now, we'll test both of these 0802 rigs next to one another. once I have this motor swap done. So let's start cranking here. What were those last four numbers? Nickel Sticks got me covered. 29.3, 28.2, 27.1, 30.4. So we're gonna look to see with these fresh motors if this if motor number 3 is still significantly lower than the rest of them. That's the main thing that we're looking for here. I wish that motor... It's actually not all that bad. I kind of wish that motor 3 was even lower than that. In terms of like this experiment, in terms of me flying the rig, I'm glad. In terms of my bank account, I'm glad. Because, yeah, I mean... When you look at motor 3 to motor 4, it looks like a big drop. But when you look at motor 1, motor 2, it's like, all right, well, there's a gram, there's a gram, there's a gram, and then motor 4 just happens to make the most power. So yeah, I mean, this AIO is kind of fine. Maybe on the other one we'll see a bigger, more drastic difference, but you're gonna have to wait for that because we're swapping these motors out. So, Tiny Whoop 0702 30,000s are coming off, and a set of prototype WeBleedFPV 0802s are going on. And once we have the 0802s on, these prototype 802s, we're going to do some propeller testing. And we're going to test propellers in a much lower KV situation on a much more grunty motor. So this is going to kind of cover both ends of the scale here. We tested a smaller motor that's a very high KV on all of our propellers. And we've got that testing and all those numbers. Now we're going to test all the same propellers in a much different scenario. And what I think we're going to see here is the quad and the triblade propellers should perform significantly better because it's going to be a lower RPM scenario on a more torquey, not necessarily more powerful, but a more torquey motor. Yeah, it is a more powerful motor just by the fact that it's an 0802. It's going to be all about finding a propeller to take advantage of the stator volume and that lower KV. So let's get that going. I don't know why I'm taking these screws all the way out of the frame. That's really dumb. I shouldn't have been doing that. Okay, I'm also going to have to put this thing into Betaflight and make sure that the motors are all spinning the right direction. So we got to do that, but whatever. I'll just take a minute. Let me get some of the hair out of these while I have them off. This is a sage hair because it's bright green. It's funny, everybody in this house has different colored hair, so I can tell exactly whose hair it is. I go and I tape it to their door. I say, here, you can have this back. Shed less, you filthy animal. I never say that. I would never say that. I'm not a monster. Oh, man, there's a bunch of hair in this one. Come on now. Get out of there. There we go. Okay. Let me make sure I didn't miss any chats. Okay. Ramzago says, you demand CiottiFPV, no one else. Thank you, homie. Ramzago says, forgot to order those glass screws. Humphin' next time. Kiz Bartlett says, you need to call Whoop MOSFET's Fetty Wap. Shrimp wraps and wops, someone says. Alright, so here we go. Let's get these proto motors on here. Spin up these little connectors. I like that they have nice short wire leads here. Well, let's weigh them while we have the scale sitting here. TinyWhoop.com. Basically, this is Happy Model 0702. Coming in at 1.5 grams. All hell's breaking loose upstairs. And then 0802. Wow, that's really light for an 0802. Holy hell, 1.8 grams. Jesus. I think a good chunk of the weight savings is the length of the cable. See the difference in the cable length? I don't have this down on the table. Man, that's a really light. This is a really light 0802. That's pretty rad. Good job, Zotek. Damn. Very cool. All right, here we go. Okay. Godzilla hands. All right. Was that part of the spec that you gave him? Did you ask him to lighten the motor up, or did it just happen to go that way? Can they make an 0702? Imagine an even lighter 0702. Good lord, that'd be ridiculous. All right, second one. Come on, get in there. Get in there. All right. All right, now I gotta start adding screws. Because like a donkey, I really have no idea why I was pulling the screws all the way out of the frame. That was weird. Weird thing to do. Ramdongo says, weigh the Tiny Whoop motors as they give weights. I just did. It was 1.4. It was the lighter of those two motors that I just weighed. Compost Pile says, don't have time to hang out. Do you have any Thanksgiving flying plans, sketchy spots? I have a few good spots picked out, but while everybody's on, I didn't even think about that. I didn't even think about it. I just kind of think about the family now. I don't go out and fly hardly at all anymore. And like, I've also kind of like already flown all the sketchy spots, I think, here in Atlanta. So yeah, I just thought about like hanging out with Maggie and the kids for Thanksgiving. I didn't even think about flying. Flying is all about like gigs for me at this point. Like the most fun that I have flying is on paid gigs. And those have become very hard to come by. I think that a lot of the younger pilots are stealing all the gigs and charging like nothing. That's what I'm kind of starting to hear, which is a shame because we were doing really good. A bunch of us professional pilots talk quite a bit, and we were doing really good, like not cannibalizing each other, and like we had like a pretty legit set of costs that we were using, and everybody was making good money. And yeah, now it seems that there's been a race to the bottom. Which is a real shame, because what we were charging rates that folks that run cameras charge, and that's what we're doing. Like, sure, we're not bringing a Red on set; it's just a GoPro, but like first camera and assistant camera, like they make good money, and that's what we were trying to make. And yeah, it seems like that might have been kind of blown up by a lot of these younger guys, which is a shame. And it's also kind of scary because, they're a lot less experienced, and if somebody's going to get hurt, it's going to hurt all of us. So that's scary. But, I guess it was kind of inevitable. That race to the bottom tends to happen when things become more accessible. It's just a shame that we had to kind of like live through that, and now it's, I don't know. Whatever. Kevin Sumner says, are they playing Dance Dance Revolution upstairs? Can you guys hear that? Holy shit, I didn't think that you guys could hear that. That was one of the requirements for sure, WeBleedFPV says. Very cool. Very, very cool. Okay, so let's get these motors plugged in here. And we will get it into beta flight, get everything spinning in the proper directions, and then we can do some testing. And then we will end the night with some flying. We'll fly around these prototype motors and see how they are. I'll pretend like I'm a tiny whoop racer rather than a tiny whoop freestyler, since that's what these motors are really built for, is racing. There's my girl, Maggie, in the chat. Felix says, sorry for all the stomping. I don't care, Maggie. Chat cares. The chat are the bitchy ones. I don't think chat cares either. It's all good. Last thing I want is for a child to not be able to be a child. So, stomp away, Felix! My bitchy chat members will just have to deal with it. I keyed. Alright, let's get these motors spinning in the right direction. Alright, here we go. I guarantee you what's going on up there is Felix is chasing the dog around, and I love to chase the dog around myself. So I'm not going to tell Felix to stop. Get that doggy. Make sure that doggy's not being a bad boy. Beta Flight, why you take so long to launch? All I gotta do is complain, and then everything is fine. Motor direction, I understand the risks. Wizard, start spin motors. Motor 1 is wrong. Motor 2 is right. Motor 3 is right, making motor 4 wrong. So let me do the little, are the shafts perfectly straight test? They're not bad. So how I do this test is with the motors spinning slowly. Let me actually stop them. And I'm going to come in here. I understand the risks. Master slider up a little bit just to get them so that they're not. All right, so they're all spinning. And then I slow them down a little bit. And then what I do, they're all spinning. I just take my fingernail and I just put it next to the top of the motor shaft. And I got to spin them up a little bit more because when I touch it, they're stalling. And then you just feel it. And you can feel if the motor shaft is wobbling at all. Motor 1 has got the tiniest little wobble. Motor 2 is perfectly smooth. Motor 3 is perfectly smooth. Motor 4 is perfectly smooth. So just one motor has a little bit of a wobble. I've just started doing that testing. That's kind of a new thing for me. So I don't really have any other motors to judge that off of. But just, you know, food for thought. Okay, so we're good. Let me make sure that there's no motor limiting. Now we're good. Okay, cool. So we can get out of beta flight. And motors are now spinning in the right direction. So we can put some props on and get some testing going here. So let's start with our control, which are the... Actually, let's do this first. Let's weigh all of these propellers first. So I'm going to weigh 4 propellers at a time. Kiz, are you still here? Can you put these propeller weights on the thing in the place? Let me load the scale down a little bit with this piece of plastic, the little plastic cover. I find that scales work better when they're loaded down a little bit. All right, so we're going to tear that out. All right, so here we go. 4 at a time. So just divide these numbers by 4. Man, I wish those props were heavier than that. Well, there you go. Let me play this little game with the scale. So there you go. That's 4 Gemfan biblades. I don't think this scale's all that accurate. These props are so lightweight. I don't know if this is this is valuable info, but we'll just keep going. So it looks like the Venoms are a little bit lighter. 0.6 for 4 Venoms. We've got, those are the newbie drone Venom biblades. And then we've got 4 of the HQ biblades. Jesus, they're heavy. What? Let the scale settle. Settles down to 0.8. All right. And then we've got the HQ triblades, which performed real bad on the thrust testing. And I always like to push the scale down farther than where it's at and then let it settle back up. 1.1. And then we've got 4 of the T-motor prototype triblades. Man, they are light. For a triblade, they are very light. Good God, they're as light as the HQ biblades. It's really impressive. Now we've got the Gemfan triblades. Those T-motor triblades made pretty much exactly the same amount of thrust as the Gemfan biblades. These Gemfan triblades did make a little bit more thrust. They're pretty light too. Just load the scale up and let it settle back down. There you go. So yeah, they are a tiny little bit lighter, heavier rather. And now we're on to the quad blades. We've got, here are the opaque low pitch HQ quad blades. And then, wow, they're pretty light. Too bad they perform so bad and they're a nightmare to deal with. To be honest, none of these quad blades really matter. I mean, maybe if you want to freestyle on a low KV motor, we're going to see in a little bit whether these quad blades are any good, but they're kind of just too heavy. They're all sort of just too heavy, these quads. These are the Gemfan quad blades here. 1.2. And then I'm happy that the scale is zeroing in between each one of these as I pick the plastic cover up every single time. And to let the little pad of the scale kind of move up and down and set. Oh man, these Emaxs are heavy. They perform well, but Jesus are they heavy. Good Lord. Hold on. 1.3. God damn, okay. That's why I didn't like the way they flew. These Nanohawk props, these are my least favorite on the quad. I was pretty shocked yesterday by how well they did on power. And then here are the HQ pitchy quad blades. Transparent pitchy quad blades. Coming in at 1.2, it looks like. So there you guys go. There are the propeller weights. Yes, fractions of a gram don't seem like a lot, but it is. It absolutely makes a difference. It is immediately noticeable in the air. So with tiny whoops, fractions of a gram really do matter. It's kind of wild. Okay, so we got some propeller weights. That's good. Tear the scale out. Now we are going to start with, let's do this. Let's put these both on T-motor well, Nah, let's just go through the whole round of testing. First thing I want to check with the same set of props that was just on this is how these motors compare. If we see motor 1, if we see motor 2 make a little bit less power than motor 1, 3 make a little bit less power than 2, and then 4 make more than 1, that means that this ESC is where the inconsistencies are on this rig when we do the thrust testing. So let's just get these propellers on right side up. So this is, we're still doing some control testing here. Makes sense? Friendos. This one's here. Okay. And then these two guys. Oops, come on now. It's so awkward to put these props on upside down. It's just the weirdest, like, I don't know what it is. I've done it a bunch now, but every time I'm just like, I can't. You know what I think it is? It's because on the bottom, they put like a little 45-degree angle cup. On the top, it's just a little hole. It's just like a straight hole in the top. So it's like actually hard to... It's hard to get it on the shaft, boys! Alright, here we go. We got all 4 motors on. Let's plug the freshly shrimp-wrapped BT 2.0 in. I'm going to set the quad here so that you guys can see it. And let's power on the scale. Let's power up the quad. All right. Voltage is on 4.1. Let's kick the transmitter on here. And let's see what happens. So these are now prototype WeBleedFPV 0802 20,000 kV motors. This is way low of a kV for a biblade propeller, but this is just our baseline. These motors should really come alive on 3 and 4 blade props.
Low battery.
All right, motor 1. $25.4 is the highest number I saw. Motor 2. $25.2 is the highest I saw. Motor 3. $24.3. Motor 4. $26.8 is the highest number I saw. Somebody drop those 4 numbers in the chat, please. These are 0802s. That is really good. Yo, these Gemfan biblades are amazing. Like, that is really good power for a biblade. Somebody drop those 4 numbers, please. I am scrolling up in the chat to look at what the 702s were making. So the 702s were making 23.8, 23.2, 21.1, 24.8. Jesus. How the hell are these making more power? I mean, it is just straight more stator volume. Good Lord. These are making big power. Okay. So 25.4, 25.5, 24.3, 26.8. So we're seeing the same, roughly the same. There's less of a difference between motors 1 and 2, but motor 3 is coming down, and then motor 4 is more powerful. So yeah, the tiny whoop motors are totally fine. This AIO is where those inconsistencies are coming from. So now we have our baseline. Now we're going to start swapping propellers around and, yeah, do some propeller testing on a lower kV 0802. What's nuts, though, is that this lower kV 0802 is making more power than the higher kV 0702s. That's crazy. I'm really interested to fly
this rig compared to the 0702 rig. Especially because these motors aren't much less powerful. I'm sorry, motors aren't much heavier, is what I meant to just say. Really quick, let's test this rig on the Tiny Whoop 0802 30,000 kV motors. I'm not going to test it on these T-motor tries, though. I'm going to test it on the Gemfan biblades. So, hang on a second. Infinity Loops is in the house. What's up, brother? All right, so let's get these T-motor tries off of here. I'm going to use this. It's the only tool you need for removing 1.2-inch props, which is the WeHot chip lifter. Makes easy work of them. And it doesn't bend your motor shafts. So let's. This will be a little myth-busting session in terms of stator volume. What we should see here on the Gemfan biblades is more power because we have significantly more kV. We were just looking at 21,000 kV. Now we're going to look at 30,000 kV on the higher stator volume motors, 0802 motors. 0802s have always felt like they've had more power, but they've always also felt much heavier. They've made the rig significantly heavier. These WeBleed motors seem to be very lightweight, which is amazing. The Happy Model EX 0802 motors have always felt really good, but they are fragile, so you can't really run them hard on a freestyle Tiny Whoop that you're going to crash a lot. So here we go. Wow, that's wild. I'm shocked at how much power those just made on Gemfan biblades. That's kind of wild. Admittedly, I wish they were a little bit lighter, but they're not going to be. I mean, they're not going to be lighter than 702s. I think the magic of the 702s is how light they are. But we're going to see. I'm really excited to fly that rig now on the prototype motors. Jesus. All right, so here we go. Now we're going to fire up a rig. This AIO is admittedly a little bit suspect. This is the AIO that gives me core temperature warnings. It's the same exact AIO that we've been testing, but I just kind of think there's something wrong with it. Let's take a look. And now these are the Tiny Whoop, significantly heavier 0802s. That's weird. This rig won't fire up. Let me turn the voltage down a little bit. That's strange. I've not had this happen before. It's just clicking. It's just going... What? Well, now I really think there's something wrong with this AIO. So it won't run off of the Toolkit RC charger, so my only real option is to run it off of a battery. Let's see what voltage this battery is at. This is going to be a completely fucked test because this battery is at 4.2 volts and this battery is going to sag, whereas the power supply won't sag. So this is a pretty worthless test here, but I'm very curious to see what power these will make. My guess is that it's going to make more power. I think even though the battery is going to sag versus the bench power supply, I still think it's going to make more power. I could be totally wrong though. So this test is, yeah, it boots fine off of the battery. I don't know. That was weird, but. So this is kind of a worthless test, but it's a test nonetheless. I would think that this should make significantly more power, but there's too many variables to really iron that out. So let's just see. Let's just fire it up and see what happens. All right, motor 1, Tiny Whoop 0802, 30,000 kV on Gemfan biblades. Wow. I saw 34.5. Man, this battery sags, though. This is noticeably louder. Motor 2. Oh, wait, hold on. Let's tear it out. Motor 2. I think I saw a 31.8, maybe a 31.7. And we got motor 3. I saw a 32.8 there. Motor 4. 29.3. That channel is hurting. Okay. Capacitor between the alligator clips. That's interesting. Thurberg says power supply leads look like they were touching. If the power supply leads were touching, the power supply would have tripped. So that shouldn't be it. That test doesn't really count. You guys could see the battery sagging. So it hit that big number and then it immediately came down. So that's kind of a fucked test. But we did see big numbers there. 34.5, 31, 32.8, 29. Those are some serious power figures. So yeah, that's an 0802. That's that extra stator volume on 30,000 kV. This rig rips, man. Like this rig, it just makes tons of power, but the runtime's not good, and it's heavier because of these motors. So yeah, I don't really like the way this rig flies, but yeah, let's move back to the WeBleed rig, and yeah, interesting. I kind of wish that we were getting a little bit more. That the data that we were getting was a little bit more repeatable with some of this stuff, but to be honest, I'm really happy with some of the info that we're getting. Ramdago says it's a good fair fun test equals good stuff. Hell yeah. Yeah, I'm really happy. I think that we're what we're seeing is there haven't been any big surprises yet, and that's a good thing because that means that like the philosophies that we've been sort of operating on in terms of motor sizes and KVs and props, there've been a couple little surprises, but yeah, it means that we're kind of dialed in, and it's always hard when you run a test and it's like, whoa, what? Like that should not be the case, because that means like you've kind of been wrong all along, and that's never great. I'm moving this power supply back up to 4.1 so I don't forget. Let's get this battery out of here. And all right, testing begins with a Venom biblade. So now we're going to do low KV, big stator volume propeller testing, and I think what we're going to see is the biblades are no longer going to be as strong, and the tri and quad blades are going to really shine. At least they should. That's what we should see here. Maybe not, though. Maybe even 802s. This is actually a really important test right here, because what this is going to tell us is, are 0802s big enough for what it's really going to tell us is, should we just all be running biblades, basically? That's basically what we're going to learn here, is do triblades and quad blades work anywhere? Going up even bigger to like an 0902, I mean, the rig already doesn't feel right on 0802s, in my opinion. I think 802s are too heavy. So going up to a 902, like, or any other motor that's a higher stator volume, is not a good idea, in my opinion. I think really what this test is going to show us is whether or not there's any reason for anything other than the Gemfan biblades. And the answer might be no, and that would be a great kind of result, to be honest. I mean, that would be a really cool... yeah, it would make selecting your Tiny Whoop props a lot easier. You just get the Gemfan biblades and you're done. And you can obsess over everything else on the rig, you know? So yeah, this could be a really cool result. Let's see. But I don't think that's going to be the result. I think the result is going to be that that these triblades kind of rock. I don't think the quad blades really make much sense. I think they're too heavy. I could totally be wrong, though. So let's see here. I need a high right T-motor prop. All right, so we're going to test on motor 1, the HQ biblade. Motor 2, the Newbie Drone Venom biblade. Motor 3, the HQ triblade. Motor 4, the T-motor triblade. Kiz, you still in here? I hope he is. So cool of him to do the Excel stuff for us. Much, much, much appreciated. All right, here we go. This is going to be really interesting. Just on this one test here, this is going to be really interesting. All right, Kiz is here. Here we go. Even though this HQ is probably going to be shit, but this T-motor prop, if this thing crushes these biblades, that's pretty cool. Motor 1, HQ biblade. Oops, hold on. Yeah, I got to arm it. That helps, doesn't it? HQ biblade, here we go. 26.8. Motor 2, Venom biblade. I saw a 25.0 there. Motor 3, HQ triblade. Here we go. Whoa. I saw a 22.9. Jesus, that prop is loud. Good God, that's ear piercing. T-motor triblade on motor 4. Here we go. Wait, no, that's not motor 4. Yeah, it is. Here we go. 27.2. It's weird how it continues to gain power like that. That's really strange. Somebody dropped those 4 numbers in the chat. I'm just not like paying attention to them. I'm just like 27. 27. Yeah, okay. So I've kind of had a funny feeling about this. The biblades really perform well, man. They really, really, really perform well. This is a different AIO that I'm running, and it's totally fine on this power supply. I don't know, that other AIO just doesn't like the power supply. 26.8, 25, 22.9, 27.2. So the HQ, wow. Wow, 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 wow. Can somebody post the 4 numbers from these motors on the Gemfan biblades? I think that was 25.4, 25.5, 24.3, 26.8. So what we're getting to see, yeah, so even an 0802 is not a big enough motor for these triblades. Yeah, there it is. Thank you, Kiz. So here's what we're seeing. Ooh, you know what's interesting is that the so on the same channel, the HQ biblade actually made more power than the Gemfan biblade. That's super interesting, to be honest with you.
Telemetry lost.
Unfortunately, that HQ prop sucks. It's and 1 gram of thrust is whatever. Yeah, what we're seeing is that these 802s, even on the lower KV, they don't have enough torque for these triblades. The biblades are still kicking ass. Not the Venom biblade, because that sucks. And the HQ triblade is just abysmal. But yeah, man. Good God, that's crazy. So, like, basically what this is saying is that the Gemfan biblades are really the only propellers that we should be running on Tiny Whoops, on these on 65 mil motor to motor 1.2 inch prop Tiny Whoops. regardless of the motor size or the KV, because we're testing really low KV. I mean, maybe if you went, so these are 21,500 kV, maybe if you went all the way down to 18,000 kV, which I think are some of the lowest kV motors you can get, maybe at that point the triblades would make more power than the biblades, but at that point you're making so little power that the rig is not going to be all that flyable. So, like, yeah, that's kind of worthless at that point. Wow, that's pretty wild. But I have seen that's not surprising. I am not surprised by that. I have had a whole bunch of situations over the last year of doing a ton of testing on these things where I go from one propeller to the Gemfan biblade, and then I go back and I don't feel a difference, and I go through this mental gymnastics of like, well, there must be a difference. I must not be feeling it. I must be a shitty pilot. Let me try the test again. But man, this testing is really showing that. WeBleed says, what about style of flight? Racing, freestyle, all buys? So that's a great question. Unfortunately, I can't speak to that. In freestyle flying, I cannot feel any flight difference between the biblades and the triblades and the quadblades, other than the PID loop performance is noticeably worse with the tri and the biblades. PID loop performance doesn't really matter in racing, right? Like, it doesn't matter if you get prop wash in racing. It doesn't necessarily make you slower. Although I've actually heard racing pilots say that it does make you slower. I don't know about that, but yeah, that's going to be a question for the racing pilots. That they're going to have to chime in and say, like, yeah, I can feel a difference, or no, I can't. No, I can't feel a difference. Being able to feel anything on these quads is awful difficult, so that's kind of a tough one. Like, whether or not you choose to believe. If a whole bunch of racing pilots say it, okay, fair enough. But you're gonna have to get a whole bunch of racing pilots to agree to that, and I just. Well, I mean, I guess with racing too, you can always just put it on the clock. You can always just. So I guess it's a little bit less, kind of all over the place. But from a freestyle standpoint, I have never been able to feel a difference in like hang time or any of the other sort of metrics that we try to compare these things to. It's just been like, oh, it's got tri-blades on it. Response time is worse. PID loop doesn't work as well. And it just doesn't feel as snappy. And then biblades and quad blades is even worse. And then biblades, all is right with the world. I love it. Here we go. Smash everything to the moon. I have like the exact wrong number of propellers here for this test. We're going to have to do one test with just one different prop, but that's okay. So now we are going to test the Gemfan triblade, the HQ low pitch quad blade, the Gemfan quad blade, and then the HQ high pitch quad blade. Also keep in mind that the only numbers that really matter are the numbers that Kiz is going to have on his spreadsheet, which are removing the inaccuracies between the different channels of this ESC. So we yeah, once Kiz adds these to his spreadsheet, we'll really be able to talk about these results. But I mean, we're already seeing something super interesting here, which kind of negates all of the rest of this testing. And I mean, it kind of negates all the testing, if I'm honest, because it just means that we should all be running Gemfan biblades in a way. But no reason not to keep going. Maybe all of a sudden these quad blades are awesome. Maybe there's something weird about the 1.2 inch tri blades. But man, the PID loop really suffers on these quad blades. All right, scale is zeroed. Here we go. Motor 1 with a Gemfan triblade. Now, hold on, the scale was not zeroed. But now it is. Might have been because I was talking and breathing downwards towards it. Gemfan triblade, here we go. 26.9. HQ low pitch quad blade. Oh boy, moving around the scale. What are you doing? Hold on. Wait, where is it? Here it is. 23 point. Well, it got up to 23.8. Let's just. I can't give them all the time in the world. I think this is kind of pulling on it a little bit. Let's take any pull off of there. Okay, settle. Oh, look, and it's settled back down to 0.0. Let's redo that one. That's better. I saw 24.2. I think those MOSFETs on that channel are starting to get hot. Motor 3, which is the Gemfan quad blade. 23.9. I'm not just going to let it sit there. It's 0.1 of a gram extra, 0.1 of a gram. That's not enough. I'm going to give it like 2 seconds. I'm giving them all the same rough amount of time. And now this is the HQ pitchy quad blade. 25.5. Somebody dropped those 4 in chat. I'm going to switch a couple of props out. I don't think we just saw the quad blades like come alive and make a ton more power. But again, I'm just like saying the numbers out loud. All right, here we go. So let's kill this. And there's only one more prop that I have to test, but let me pull 2 of these off, and I'll put a Gemfan biblade back on as another little kind of control test here, so that we're not just testing one and one alone. Yeah. 26.9, 24.2, 23.9, 25.5. So yeah, there you go. That really kind of like debunks these quad blades, and that's what I've felt every single time I have run a quad blade. I've been disappointed. Like I've always expected to feel more grip, to get a little bit more power, and it's always been a little bit of a disappointing exercise. So this is really bearing that out, even on a low KV 0802, which is kind of wild. So the one propeller that we've got for some hope. This is save us, Emax quad blade. You're our only hope. This is an Emax Nanohawk quad blade, and yeah, maybe this will make a little bit more power, and there'll be a reason for any quad blades, but I doubt it. And we're gonna run it right up against a Gemfan biblade. So let's get that on there. All right, here we go. This is going to be an ultimate... I have a feeling there's going to be an ultimate smackdown that's about to happen. Big, heavy quad blade versus little lightweight biblade. Here we go. Scale on. Power supply on. And the fate... And this is even... this is a beat-up Gemfan biblade too, and this is a fresh Emax Nanohawk 1210 quad blade. Here we go. Arm it. Emax on motor 1, Emax quad blade. Nope, 26.6. I mean, yeah, makes a little bit more power, but watch this. Motor 2, Gemfan biblade. Beat to shit Gemfan biblade. I think I saw 24.6 there. So, yeah, I mean, 2 less grams of thrust for a much lighter weight propeller, and it's all kind of chewed up on the outside of the prop. Yeah, biblades, man.
lost.
65 mil tiny whoops should have biblades. All right, so hopefully Kiz can drop all these numbers into that spreadsheet, and then we can take, that will allow us to remove the slight different bit of power each channel on this AIO is giving to each motor out of the equation, and we can just see how much power each motor made in relation to the control, and the control is the Gemfan biblade. What I'm going to do is I'm going to get all of these rigs ready to fly, and I'm going to put them all on Gemfan biblades because they're really proving themselves to be the only prop that we should be running. So yeah, there's kind of no reason to run them on anything different. Wow. I did not expect that. I really expected the 0802s.
Maybe I didn't expect it. I think I kind of hoped. I hoped that the lower kV, higher stator volume motor would bring something out of these tri and quad blades that was like significant. Like I was looking for 5, 6, 7, 8 more grams of thrust. Fat Pastor, yep, the spreadsheet is on Discord in Livestream Live. Where the hell is Discord? Where'd you go, Discord? There it is. Kiz is... So Kiz put a first draft of it up at 8:24. That was a minute ago. Is that good to go, Kiz? Did you get it in there already? So she says. Still need to add weights though. That's fine. Is that screenshot from a minute ago good to go, Kiz? Jesus. If so, my guy not fucking around. He's in it to win it. Let's get some biblades put on all these rigs, and then we're going to talk a little bit about flight feel, which is completely worthless because flight feel is like the most subjective, hard to iron down, nail down, iron out thing ever. But actually, I think I will be able to tell the difference between these. Because between the 0802 rigs, one of them is making a simply horrendous amount of power, but it's also significantly heavier. And then the other two rigs, there's a, I think, noticeable difference in weight on each corner. Kiz says, that's the latest. All right, here we go. So let me pull this over here, and I'm going to share my screen, and we're going to take a look. Kiz, thank you, man. Very cool. Very, very cool. So let's zoom in a little bit. All right. So what you really want to look at here is the diff from Ben line. This last line here is telling you how much more or less thrust they have compared to the control, which is the Gemfan biblade. So the HQ biblade actually made 1.4, and all of this is on a prototype 0802 21,500 kV motor, fairly low kV motor. HQ biblade made 1.4 extra grams of thrust. Too bad the top of the prop is closed off, and it'll wreck your motor shafts. Newbie Drone Venom made 0.2 of a gram less grams of thrust. It's, I don't know. It's a cool looking prop. It's kind of interesting that it did really well in this test. It did not do well on the 0702s. No clue why. I guess because it's probably a less aerodynamic prop, but this 0802 had enough grunt to turn it. HQ Triblade down 1.4 grams of thrust from a lighter, more efficient Gemfan biblade. T-Motor Triblade up 0.4 of a gram of thrust. Not enough to really make it worth it, because it's a heavier prop. Gemfan Triblade up 1.5 grams of thrust. Kind of interesting. I don't think that's enough extra thrust to warrant the extra weight of the propeller, though. And it's gonna be less efficient too, right? Because of the extra blade. Because the tips of the blades are going to be closer together. HQ low pitch prop. HQ low pitch 4-blade prop. Down 1 gram of thrust. Bad. Gemfan quad blade prop. Down 0.4 of a gram of thrust. Bad. HQ pitchy prop. Down 1.3 grams. That right there, that is very telling. So that right there very specifically shows us that the quad blades are, I mean, we're seeing this with the other results, but that's a very specific one. That shows us that these 4 blades are just bogging these motors down. The 4-blade props are too much propeller for an 0802. Here's the... I kind of assumed that all you guys already knew this, but that was stupid. This is a loaded thrust stand. This is not when they're in the air. Once they're in the air, the props are going to be a little bit less draggy because there's incoming airspeed. But again, I think I would still want to see more of an improvement than this. I still think these results are dead on the money. Emax quad blade, 1.2 grams of thrust up. Super interesting. It's a very low pitch propeller. It's a 10 pitch per quad blade. And then we did our control again. The Gemfan biblade was 0.6 of a gram down from what it was 20 tests ago. And that's where our margin of error, we keep talking about like this 1 gram margin of error, and that's exactly within that 1 gram margin of error. So when you see a propeller that's like a -1, it might just be that test. Yeah, I mean, none of these props are gaining a significant amount of extra thrust. Maybe that's because it's a static thrust stand. You know, with all thrust stand data, there's that part of it that you have to like take the results with a grain of salt, because once they're in the air, they're going to be less loaded because of the air that's moving, right? The quad is going to be charging through air at 5 miles an hour, then 10 miles an hour, then 20 miles an hour. And that makes it easier. That makes the situation easier. So, yeah. But all of this testing is 1-to-1 with what my guesses have been from just flying these things, from flying all of these different propellers over the last couple of years. Because these propellers have been out for a long time. We've just recently got a lot of high kV motors. So yeah, I really think that this data is kind of dead on the money. And there's really like... I mean, like, yeah, somebody with a proper thrust stand could get a little bit more accurate data than this. But, I mean, do we really need that? It's like 1 gram less thrust, 1.5 grams less thrust in a rig that's making 100 grams of thrust. Do you 100 like if you can tell the difference between 104 and 100 grams of thrust, get the hell off this live stream. You need to be working for fucking DRL or something. You know, like the biggest difference that we saw here was 1.5. So that's 6 extra grams of thrust on a rig making, in that case, it was making 27 grams of thrust per motor. No. Run the Gemfan triblades. Done. Or the Venom biblades. The Venom biblades did really good in this test. They didn't do as good yesterday. Let me take a look. Yesterday, the Venom biblades, where are they at? They were down, yeah, it doesn't matter. See, they were down 2.4 grams. But same kind of deal. That's 10 less grams. That's a little bit more significant. The Gemfan biblades make a cool... How about this? next time you're doing a newbie drone order, definitely get some definitely get some Venom biblades, cause they're like $4, and it'll satiate the need to change things. And they're almost as good as the Gemfan biblades. The HQ biblades actually did great on these lower KV motors, but the physical design of the propeller is flawed in a very serious way. So definitely don't run those. I need to flip these propellers back upside down. Oh God, excuse me. Back upside down, and then we're gonna fly a couple of batteries. Let me get caught up on chat. Fat Pastor says prop wash and racing does make a difference in my lap times. Very interesting. There you guys go. Ram Douglas says good stuff, good game. Good night, cheers. Michael D says time to convert the tiny lifters to biblades. You know, the tiny lifters felt great on biblades. The problem with the biblades on the tiny lifters is they're loud. And I think the most recent time that I was flying those, I was specifically saying, like, I wish the biblades weren't as loud because I would love to run them. Also, the tiny lifters are on 1.6 inch props. That situation could be completely different. There are a lot of variables, and yeah, there's totally a chance. Hey, Heads, you're up. I'm sure you got a scale, and I think you use the Mobula 7 ELRS V4 frame, which sits flat. So you, my friend, you're the one that needs to do the 1.6 inch prop thrust testing, because I don't have a 75 millimeter rig anymore. I do have all the props. I'm sure you have all the props too. And I mean, the testing's pretty simple. I don't know if you have I'll let you borrow this toolkit power supply if you want. I'll absolutely ship that over to you if you're willing to do the testing. Ramdaga says there's a lot to be done after 5 inch. Love equals learner B. Me? Kiz Bartlett says, what were the motors used on that last set of prop tests? Just so I can name the sheet accordingly. Thank you, Kiz. These are prototype WeBleedFPV 0802 21,500 kV. And there's another biblade on there, and I think we are good. Out. Fat Pastor says, is there something on each sheet showing the motor size? Sorry, I've missed a lot. I think Kiz might be adding that right now. Ramdongo says, can you own something like a P.O. box so we can send you good stuff? Ball bag equals not bags of poop equals fan builds and stuff. Ram, just message me anywhere, and I'll just give you my address. It's all good. You guys are all cool. You're on the Fractal 75 frame. Damn. Okay. I don't think that frame will sit flat enough to be able to do this testing. At some point, I'll probably build another 75 rig, and I'll almost certainly do it in the Mobula 7 V4 frame, and then I'll be able to do the testing. Frank Nicholas says, I'm about to place an order at Newbie Drone. Which biblade props are you recommending? The Venom. Newbie Drone Venom biblades. I don't even know if they're still available, to be honest. They're an older propeller. They might be discontinued. But the Gemfan biblades on a higher KV motor are a little bit better. I don't know if but just get them if they have them. Let's see. Let's take a look. Let's just search for Venom. How many products could they possibly have called Venom? So there they are. They used to sell them in purple. It looks like they still have them. Make sure you get the 1mm shaft version. And they've got them in transparent black, forest green. Hey, there's the purple. Purple Stardust. That's the ones that I have. Great colors. That's a sexy green. I'm going to get it. Next time I do an order on here, I'm going to get a set of the greens. Yeah, so they have them. They exist. They've got a weight, 0.19 grams. Hold on, 0.19 grams. Let's take a look at the Gemfan. Oh, Christ. Just do this. Where are the Gemfan biblades? Let's sort by Gemfan. Where are those biblades? Come on now. Best selling, no. Price, low to high. Oh wait, no, I forgot. Tiny Whoop props are like kind of expensive. Man, that made the situation even worse. Where are those biblades? Where are you at, little fellas? There they are. Nope, those are the 1.6s. Here's the 31s with a 1mm shaft. Sold out, that's fine. What's the weight? 0.19 of a gram. Is that what we saw with the Venoms? I don't even remember. 0.19. And the Venoms were 0.19. Okay, yeah, so there we go. Very interesting, man. Very interesting little set of results. Infinity Loop says battery tray sits too low on the Mobula 7 V4 frame. That's right. That's right. That's right. That's right. That's right. That's right. Damn it. You're right. Okay. So I will do a build with the Cockroach 75 frame, and I'll be able to put the skinny 300 mAh batteries up, and so that'll fit flat. Don't hold your breath for that build, because I'm not gonna like the way that it flies, so I'm very not motivated to do that at all. Let me put a couple more. Let me put a couple more gates up, because we're gonna be doing some proper freestyle flying here. Put these two big boys up. Put this guy up here. Oopsie. Yay. Alright, and let's put these guys over here. Coming back, give me a minute. Okay, and put this guy up here. Alright, and let's get a cube gate out here. And that'll be plenty. We're not going to go ultra ham. Just going to go half ham. Wait, no, let's put this down here. Down in this corner. Okay, cool. And I do want to put one of these guys over here. All right, friends. Here we go. Let's do some flying between three very, 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 very different rigs. I've got a nice little assortment of gates up here. See how many of them I can knock down by bashing into them, because I'm not the best pilot in the world. All right, VRX is plugged in. Where's that transmitter? Here it is. Cool, so I guess we'll just do 2 batteries each. I think I have 6 batteries charged. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 5 came off the charger today. This one hasn't been flown at all. So we're gonna go from lightest to heaviest. Let me actually get a couple of weights on these guys. So here comes some dry weights. Mobula 6 ELRS with, these are all Mobula 6 ELRSs with Meteor 65 frames. 2 of these have singularity antennas. 1 of them has a small antenna. The one that has the small antenna is the heaviest of the, well, let's see. I'll tell you in a second. So this is singularity antenna, but with 0702s. 19.8 grams. These are all on Gemfan biblades. 19.8 grams. I think this is going to be the next heaviest. This is the rig on the WeBleed prototype motors. 0802 prototype motors, yeah. 21.1 grams. Only difference between these 2 rigs is motors. And then this is going to be the heaviest, I think. This has the heaviest motors. These are the Tiny Whoop 0802 30,000 kV motors. But it's got a lightweight antenna. That helps. The lightweight antenna helps. This one's 21.3 grams. So, yeah, we're going to go from lightest to heaviest, which is also going to be going from least powerful to most powerful. 4.34, that's good. And then here's 5 batteries. What's this one? What's this battery at? 4.35. Awesome. These batteries are all fully charged. This one's at 4.1. Just gonna put this one aside. Fly that after the stream. Cool. Everybody makes sense. Bob Bruce says, "What's up? Made it in time for some flying." Kiz Bartlett says the ones you tested the other day used the Tiny Whoop. Nope, it was the WeBleed 0702 28,500 kV motors. That's the testing we did on Monday night. Michael D says you should make a Lego stand to sit the Fractal 65 frame on in the sky. That's a really good idea, Michael D. That's a really, really, really good idea. Frank Nicholas dropping the link to the Venom props, and then, all right, we're good. Bob Bruce says made it time for some flying. Fat Pastor says, what goggles do you use on HD0? I know my HD3s love a lot worse than my HD02s. OLED screens make a big difference. All I have are HD3s. If I was going to go all in on, if I was going to go all in on HD0, I would get the HD0 goggles, because I find fat sharks with that front module hanging off to be really uncomfortable. So does Patrick, by the way. Patrick agrees with me on that. He was we hung out last night. It was super fun. And he kind of thought the same thing. Like, yikes, that pulls the goggles right off your face. So yeah. Here we go. 0702 rig first. OBS just crashed. Hold on. I don't know why webcam utility grenaded with it. Hold on. Hopefully this didn't chop the stream up. It shouldn't have. Come on back to me. Come on. Webcam utility, you can do it. Are you kidding me with this? Please, really? What? God damn it. I mean, what why is this here? Oh, because it's on the outside. All right, well, I don't know. I guess I fucking hate this shit.
Welcome to OpenTX.
I don't know. I don't know about this whole live streaming thing, guys. It's kind of bullshit.
Low battery.
Here we go. 0702 rig. Which one's this? This is the one with the WeBleedFPV 28,500 kV motors. Motors. Here we go. So this is just gonna, I don't know. I don't really, really, come on, you're gonna rape me like that? Stop it. I don't really know what I'm most interested in is just just getting used to these, and then 0702s, and then flying the prototype 802s, and seeing if I can really notice a difference in weight.
So, see that hang time? That like, for fuck's sake, that inverted hang time. That is what I really noticed from the 0702s, and that was the thing that like that I was most happy with. Because with tiny whoops, right? Like we've got the horsepower, but then if the rig falls out of the sky like a sack of hammers, it makes using that power a lot more difficult because you have to like change the pacing of your flying. And I don't want to do that. I want the pacing of my flying to be exactly the same between 5-inch and 3-inch and tiny whoops. That's a big ask. Almost kind of like an impossible ask. But I want to get as close to it as I possibly can. You know what I mean? So, yeah. The fact that this rig I'm flying now is like 1.5 or 1.6, I forget the exact number, grams lighter than the rig with those prototype 0802s, even though those are lightweight 0802s. Yeah, that float that you again got to see there is just intoxicating to me, and it's really like what I've been looking for a long time. Wow, I got really like confused in my brain a second ago. Oh no, don't land on the couch. You'll never come out. So yeah, the weight of these prototype 0802s, I'm pretty sure I'm going to be able to feel. But man, they make great power, especially with how low of a KV they are. I did not expect that. I'm really surprised. And it really speaks to like the difference between KV and stator size. Like we get really hung up on KV. But the stator size is really important too. Well, that's interesting. I didn't disarm it, and it just turned itself off. Easy. There's my ramen. Look at that ramen. Yeah, blow that away. I moved a couple of things around down here. I put the chairs and the lamp over here, and then I moved the little IKEA Kallax cube with the old consoles over here. I don't know if I like it. There's going to be a bar cart that goes right here for our Christmas party. Should be fun. Well, and like forever, not just for the party. Oh God, this battery's gonna catch on fire. All right, so yeah, I'm just trying to like get used to this rig so that when I fly the next rig with the prototype motors, I can hopefully feel a difference. Let's do one more battery through it. And then we're going to switch over. I'm flying this all on a mix of WeBleedFPV, Tattoo, and Tiny Whoop 300 mAh folded cell BT 2.0 batteries. I can't feel a difference between any of the batteries. They're all being made by the same place. So, yeah, there shouldn't really be a difference. All right. So, here we go. Just getting dialed in. Denzel Terrible says, ooh, can we come to the Christmas party? No. 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 No Christmas party. No Christmas party for you. Let's play some music. Let's play some copyright-free music. Here we go. I'm just going to play it through the speakers. Or not, because the monitoring just has shit the bed. Can you please... Wait, no. I have to... Yeah, no, it should... Wait, hold on. Oh, so sorry. I'm so very sorry. It used to play through the speaker... No, I can just do this. Oh, fart. Okay. Here we go. Ah! Just missed it. Oh, God. Easy, easy. Come on. What is happening? There we go. Oh, that would have been gnarly. Is that lined up? It is kind of lined up. Let's try it again. Ah, damn it. Oh, so close. Almost. That kind of stuff right there, I have a hard time doing with any kind of consistency from rigs that don't have 0702s. Just say heavier rigs. Shoot some gaps. Ow! Oh! If I have music on, I feel better about like just not saying anything and just focusing on flying. What the hell is happening here? It's a little too tight to fly around here. Plus it's like not all that interesting. Oh god, that throw. Ah! Almost. I'm looking for other, like, big throws that I can do. What about here? Yeah. Oh, boy. It's a lot of distance to cover. You know, like, that's coming all the way up here, and then all the way back down. I'm also gonna start doing it in Maggie's old rental house. I would like square off some of the power loops, climb up, stall it, and then throw it back. I really like that, and I really want to start doing that here too. Throw it up, stall it, throw it back. It's a different feel. I love that stall too. I love that initial kind of stall. It's really cool to me. One of the really telling things with this rig is like from I crashed into the garbage can. From day one, I just flew better on this rig. When I got these high KV 0702s, I just flew better. Just like straight up. Just flew better. Had more fun flying and flew better. Oh god. This battery's shot. Let's bring it in. Alright, here we go. Prototype 0802, very lightweight 0802, impressively lightweight 0802, 21,500 kV motors. Up next. And here we go. Shout out to WeBleedFPV for sending these motors over. Very, very cool of them. They performed shockingly well in the thrust testing that we just did. Here we go.
Telemetry recovered. Low battery.
Let's see how the grunty boys are. Man, the camera on this rig is so much better for some reason. Alright, so immediately the hover point is lower. I'm sorry, the hover point is higher. Which makes a lot of sense. This is 21,500 kV versus... Oh shit, Jesus Christ. Versus 28,500 kV. Man, much higher hover point. It also feels like there's a lot more throttle resolution, which the thrust testing wouldn't really show. God, this just feels like a racing motor. That's wild. The thrust testing showed, I think, about the same amount of power of these versus the 0702 30,000s. I mean, the 0702 30,000s, that's a freestyle motor, like through and through. That is not a racing motor in any way. I'm sorry, 28,500 kV. Oh my god! These feel fucking great, I gotta be honest. I mean, this is not my style of flying right here, but this is very fun. These basically feel like they have acres of resolution. Like, look at the throttle value on the right. Look how much I can move the throttle up and down. Oh god! And it barely changes. It barely changes elevation. That is throttle resolution right there. So they just feel like they have tons of throttle resolution here, so I can really make these minute adjustments to my elevation. Balls. But then when I go full throttle, there's a bunch of thrust there. Hold on, most of the throttle travel is making those little subtle adjustments. And then there's kind of just this big explosion of thrust at full throttle. Hey Kiz, can you give me a comparison of the what are the thrust numbers like on these motors versus the 0702s with the Gemfan buys? I don't remember that. I feel like these made more power though, didn't they? Oh god. I paid no attention to runtime. Alright, so I'm having a hard time figuring out how to fly these freestyle. There we go. Way different than the 0702s, though. Way different. Oh, that's gonna go down behind there, isn't it? Fuck you. Hold on. Definitely heavier though. Can you guys see how much heavier they are? It's carrying its momentum, and that's why I'm slamming into stuff like that. Oh god damn it! Come back. There we go. Hey, Patrick helped me hang the mirror up too. Isn't that cool looking there? All right, hold on. So yeah, these have great throttle resolution, but it's definitely carrying significantly more weight. Oh, fart. Let's swap batteries. Battery's getting a little tired. Oh man, super interesting motor. Very, very interesting motor. I didn't even get out of the basement. Jeez. Okay. I was worried I wasn't going to be able to tell a difference between the two of them, but good lord, the difference is, I mean, like, yeah, super, super, super noticeable. Alright. Here we go. Let's go upstairs. I have to assume these are going to have less runtime because they're heavier and a bigger stator. God. Yeah, it is. Where even was I? Oh, I was in a box. All right, so let's see how it is up here. Wow, yeah. So I'm actually having a hard time with how much throttle resolution there is, because like I'm adding a little bit of throttle and expecting to miss objects, but then I don't, because there's so much extra. Yeah, it just needs a bigger throttle movement. I gotta be honest, I don't like these as much as the high KV 0702s, but these aren't for me. This is a racing motor, and if I hadn't flown the 0702 motors, I would like these. Also, you see how the PID loop is not working as good? The motor bell is heavier, and so we're sacrificing a little bit of response time. So this tune on this rig that's dialed in for 0702s is not working as well. So, I mean, look at that though. That was a big throw. This is, even though I don't like this as much, this is a great motor. Like, it's totally freestylable. Oh, so, all right. So I was on the throttle hard. So the battery's coming down. All right, so two things. The rig is heavier. I was on the throttle very hard to try to get it to not hit the ground there. And I was on the throttle for a while, and it still hit the ground. So yeah, from like a... but yeah, this is going through the battery quicker. Heavier rig. More stator volume. Oh, Jesus. I don't even know where that is. The crashes kind of speak for themselves. Where even is it? Yeah. I really like the lighter 0702s, but man, these are fun. This is really, really fun. I haven't found an 0802 to be this fun in a while. I've been flying really high KV 802s, which had maybe too much power. What's this battery at? 3.7. We're gonna leave it. We're gonna call it. Kiz, thank you. 28,500 kV 0702s, 26, 27, 27, 28, 21,500 kV 0802s, 25, 25, 24, 26. Okay, so it's making slightly less power. Okay, that makes sense. That makes sense. I can't get the fucking battery unplugged. God damn it, come on, there we go. Jesus. Sometimes I plug the batteries in too hard. Okay, it definitely felt like it had God damn it. I don't know, like, what do I do? There's... Webcam utility not working, like that's it. There's no way to like fix it. Like, do I have to reinstall it? What? I just reinstalled it 2 fucking days ago. Hold on. EOS utility works. It's just it won't pass the fucking data to OBS. What the hell? Oh my god, this is so goddamn frustrating. Wanna hate yourself? Live stream a lot. Wow, those motors are really interesting. Let's go to the other side. Big heavy 0802s, but 30,000 kV. We're gonna jump 8,500 kV here. So we're gonna get all the power back, and it's only like 0.2 of a gram heavier because it's got a little small antenna on it, much lighter weight antenna. And the camera looks much worse. So this is gonna really mangle the battery. Here we go, ready? Oh, come on. So now the hover point is now back where I'm used to it from these higher KV motors. Still has the same amount of weight. And so now I've also lost all that throttle resolution. But I've gained a simply absurd amount of power. Maggie, help me! Help me. Please help me. Maggie, please help me. I don't want to walk upstairs. Oh, somebody's coming. Somebody's coming. I'm here. Ah, thank you! Oh, my savior. I almost got it stuck in her hair. I'm gonna hit her in the booty. She's the best. All right, here we go. Oh, wow, look at that power. Jesus, look at that. Oh, okay, there's the core temperature warning, right on schedule. Look at the battery voltage already, though. Look at that power, though. Like, this is a stupid amount of power. Oh! No! I'm so sorry! I'm the worst! It's those big valleys in the couch. Thank you again! I won't harass her this time. Yes, I will. She just skirts out of the way. Yeah, so now we're in this situation where, like, oh god! The rig it's got all the weight, but it's got a bunch more power. And, like, for me, what that does is it leaves it, like, it makes it uncontrollable. Because it's got so much power, and it's got so much weight, that, like, this room that I'm in, which is a big room, all of a sudden feels too small. Really fun. Really fun. Don't get me wrong. Like, if you've got, like, a warehouse at work to fly in, these motors are going to be really fun for you. It's going to mangle the batteries. Like, we're at, like, just shy of 2 minutes, and the battery's already screaming for mercy. Man, you know what's wild? I like the low KV 802s better, I think. Because they have less power. Man, crash prevention. Fucking worked magic on that one there. Jesus Christ. Yeah, they've got, I can't believe I'm saying that, but, I guess now I'd kind of like to fly a lower KV 0702. Where the hell did it go? There it is. Yeah, this rig is really hard to fly. It's so heavy and it's got so much power. If I were a better pilot, this rig would probably be really fun to fly. But yeah, I'm just not good enough for this rig, which is interesting. Last battery, we're gonna go back onto the prototype motors because they were really fun. I had more fun with them because they had less power. Like, having less power, they are RSSI low. They're like rocketing themselves towards objects a little bit slower, and then they've got just a ton. What?
Telemetry lost.
What the fuck just happened? What? What was that about? What the hell is happening? Oh, this BT 2.0 shit the bed. Well, that's obnoxious.
Low battery.
Come on now, really? Oh yeah, this BT 2.0 totally shit the bed. Oh man, come on.
Telemetry lost. RSSI low.
All right, let's see. It's working. It needs to be replaced though. Yeah. My God. So I mean, if this is gonna be like a racy rig, I'm gonna fly it around. Like, I'm gonna fucking race the thing around. How can I hit all these gaps all of a sudden? Jesus Christ on a cracker. Oh, face first. Man, I am just shocked at the throttle resolution that this thing has. This is crazy. You can just like, oh. Hey, it came back. Thanks, little buddy. Yeah, if it weren't for the extra weight, oh, god damn it. Every time you crash, it shuts off. Yeah, if it weren't for the extra weight, oh. Where am I? Where am I? Oh no! No, we're good. I'm good. I'm good. Oh, thank you though. Thank you though. Oh no! Duke tried to eat it. Duke tried to eat it. Oh, I'm out of here. I'm out of here. Get me out of here. Get me down the stairs. Oh, yeah, like if I spent a bunch of time flying this and oh god damn it, and getting used to the weight, I would probably be fine. Oh god! All right, so the PT 2.0 is wrecked. Damn. Okay. Zotac, this is a really interesting set of motors here. All right, so we got to do a little repair to this guy. Good to know. Damn. Super interesting. Yeah, the slashers. The slashers. No, I did not try the slashers, WeBleed, but now I'm really interested in. I mean, like, I don't know if I would leave a rig set up with him though, because I just don't race. Like if I raced, I would be really interested in those slashers, but I mean, to just fart around, it would be super fun to just fart around with them, don't get me wrong. But for the freestyle shit that I'm super into, man, webcam utility, you can just absolutely go to hell for just failing like this. This is really not cool. Let me try quitting out of, I mean, but OBS crashed and that's basically it. Restart. Let me try, I guess, quitting out of OBS real quick. I'll be right back. Yeah, no. Webcam utility is just failing. Man, that sucks. Fuck you. I mean, this is all I got. This is the camera on top of the Mac monitor. Wow, really, really eye-opening test as to what low KV can do for throttle resolution. I haven't really thought about that as a long time. I use Throttle Expo on these really high KV motors to get some of that throttle sensitivity back at the hover point. And to be honest with you, this rig, it has too much. I could, with these motors, I could probably turn the Throttle Expo all the way off on this. Right now, it's got Throttle Expo for 0702 30,000 kV motors. What I've found most interesting is how much easier / like different it was to fly with just gobs of throttle resolution. I can simulate that. I'm going to simulate that real quick. I'm going to simulate lower power
Yeah, watch this. I'm just gonna put motor limiting on this 0702 rig. And yeah. So here's the 0702 rig. I'm gonna take this battery that I didn't fly all the way through, and I'm gonna use motor limiting to simulate. So this is 28,500 kV. I'm gonna motor limit it down. What's the math? Hold on, let me do the math real quick. 28,500 times 0.8 equals 22,800. I want to go even less than that. 28,500 times 0.75. 21,375. So I'm going to do a motor limit of 0.76. 0.76. And that's going to give me roughly... Wait, no, 0.74. 0.74. And that's going to give me roughly 21... No, sorry, 0.76. That's it. That's it. That'll give me roughly 21,500 kV. So, come on, connect, you bastard. And then it'll be a comparison of 0702s versus 0802s, because I'll have roughly the same amount of kV. I think it's in here. Where the hell is it? Motor out limit. So we're going to go to 76. Okay, save and exit. All right.
Telemetry lost. Telemetry recovered.
Wow, okay, so there's that higher hover point. Yeah, and there's tons of throttle resolution. Wow, Jesus. Wow. Yeah, it's I think it's actually down on power a little bit more. The motor limiting is never like absolutely perfect, but feels very similar. Let me do a big... Yeah, so it definitely has less power for sure. But it's got less stator volume, right? 0702 versus 0802. So hold on, let me do this. Let me turn it up just a little bit. What I want to feel is the difference in weight. So let's turn it up to 80. Let's do 82.
Telemetry lost.
Come on. Come on.
Telemetry.
Please. There we go. Much better. Oh my god, that was a little gap. Yeah, I can feel the difference in weight. Oh my god. What's interesting is it makes certain freestyle stuff easier because there's not this humongous spike of power. This kind of makes me feel like I've been flying motors that have a little bit too much power. I love the power and all, but you can still do... Nah, it changes the pacing, yeah. With less power, it's more accurate with less power, but then it makes the pacing different, so you have to fly it more like a tiny whoop. I want to fly it like a... Man, it makes doing stuff like that a lot easier, though. I gotta be honest. There's a bunch of stuff that this reduction in power makes a lot easier. I just don't like it as much, but I would rather have the more power for the big, quick throttle stabs and throws, and just force myself to get better. Oh boy, this battery is just ruined. I'll be damned. That's wild.
Telemetry lost.
Yeah, so I'm pretty sure I really like the and can tell the lighter weight of these 702s. I still do think though that those 802 prototypes, there's something there to that.
Low battery.
There's something there with that like gruntiness that they've got from that extra stator volume. What the hell was that?
Man, this thing feels so different with less power. My God. Let's turn the power back up. I just want you guys to see the difference. It's so different. Good Lord. I mean, I guess that's kind of obvious, but like,
Low battery.
oh God damn it. Yeah, the margins are a lot smaller. Like to do that, to hit that power loop, like I have to be, yeah, it's more difficult. But shit like that though, you just kind of can't do with less power. And to get, so here's an example. So like this right here, ready? Just like flip. And I missed it, but like getting that, being able to just do like a quick blip. And, oh shit. An ant? Did I find an ant there? Where are you, little guy? Yeah, I mean, it's just harder to fly. It's just harder to fly with more power. I guess that's what is like kind of shocking me right now. Which shouldn't be a shock, but the benefits of the extra power are kind of all over the place. Like you can catch those dives really low. You know, when I start playing around in that double high tiny whoop cube, the extra power is going to come in handy. But what's really kind of blowing my mind right now is that like how much easier the lower power, more throttle resolution setup makes doing some of these tricks, doing some of these like I can't hit anything all of a sudden. Like, and these are the 28,500s. These aren't even the 30,000s. All right, so maybe it's just, I don't know. I would really love to just get better, to run the higher power motors and just get better. You know what I mean? That's kind of ideal, because the more powerful motors will just let you do more stuff. Straight up. So I think the lower KV motors are just making me like, oh, it makes me feel like a better pilot, but I would rather put the work in to get better and have the extra Oompa Loompa. Oh, no, it's battery shot. Make it. Super interesting, yo. Really cool testing. God damn, I did not think that, I did not think I was going to like those, the 21,500 kV 0802s, but it really kind of opened my eyes to what we lose, with extra power. Sorry about the horrible camera, guys. Canon's webcam software is terrible. The new version of it, at least. This, yeah, the computer rebooted the other day, and it automatically updated something.
Trim center.
And now, with all the new updated software, any reliability that I used to have on the live stream is just basically gone, which is super annoying. But I digress. Wow. So what did we learn? We learned that there's really no reason to run any tiny whoop props other than Gemfan biblades and Newbie Drone Venom biblades. We learned that these high KV 0702s are very difficult to fly. But you can just motor limit them down, right? Like, if you already bought some, don't be like, oh, fuck, you told me they were the best, and you made me waste my money. Like, no, you didn't waste your money at all. You saved yourself money by not getting the lower KV ones that maybe someday you'll outgrow.
If you want to fly your tiny whoop outside, these high KV 0702s are just beautiful. And for flying inside, just motor limit them down. Do what I did. Do it in the goddamn OSD. You don't even have to hook it up to Betaflight. It's in miscellaneous PP. And we learned that WeBleed might have some really cool, really lightweight 0802s coming that have gobs of throttle resolution. Just tons and tons. That was a wild little experience there. The motor limited down 0702s did not have nearly that amount of throttle resolution. That's crazy. Fat Passer with a $9.99 super chat. Thank you, homie. He says, "Happy Thanksgiving, bro. Have a great one. You as well, my friend." Fat Passer also calls, we need to call this whoop style instead of freestyle. That's very true. Fat Passer also says, if the HD0 goggles are anything like the Event VRX, they make analog much better also. Oh, really? I didn't even think about that. HD0 goggles running analog. That's pretty slick. Jason Crabtree with the last comment of the live stream, he says, could you put just a harsher expo on the throttle, but shift it towards the top end so the last couple percent of the stick get the vast majority? You could, but the problem is that would then make the rest of the throttle even more sensitive. So it would be like a nightmare in the rest of the throttle throw. Yeah, I mean, on any of these rigs, I could add more throttle expo or less. I always try to run as little as possible. But yeah, you can kind of tune that in yourself, and you should. It really, throttle expo is kind of a beautiful thing. All right, we're gonna end this one. Let me find something to put up on the screen here for you. Outro should work. I figured out what was going on with the I don't know, things. Pretend I just said something intelligent. Here's a little bit of Tiny Lifter flying from the mailbox in the Insta360 Go 2's native 360 degree with no no stabilization. This is how the footage comes out of the Insta360 Go 2, and then you run it through their software and it lets you choose proper dimensions. But it's kind of funny because it's like partially 360. I don't know, it's weird. Nobody else likes it, just me. Love you guys, be good. I'm going to continue to suffer and try to figure why all this new software sucks such a bag of dicks. See you guys on Friday. Happy Thanksgiving! Later. Wait, no, I need music. Music. There we go. Later, friends.